Welcome everybody to the two-day national webinar on national education policy. We are waiting for our delegates to join, and we will be starting very shortly. So I would request all the participants to join in, and we will be starting our two-day national webinar very shortly. The starting time is 10:30, and we are waiting for our participants to join in, and we already have more than 70 participants who have joined in, and we're waiting for more. And the starting time will be 10:30 a.m. So please have patience. We will be starting very shortly. I'm starting, please don't disturb. Good morning to you all. I wish you all a beautiful day filled with grace of Almighty and positive energy. In the famous words of Swami Vivekananda, take up one idea, make that idea your life, think of it, dream of it, live on that idea. Is National Education Policy 2020 that envisioned transformation? Dronacharya Postgraduate College, Rait in district Kangra in Himachal Pradesh, believes in motto where knowledge is created, not just communicated. The college has always spearheaded the innovations to promote quality and academic excellence. To accomplish this unique quest, Internal Quality Assurance Cell of Dronacharya PG College Rait is organizing a two-day national webinar on National Education Policy 2020, a holistic roadmap for transformation of educational landscape in association with Goswami Ganesh Dutt Sanatan Dharm College, Rajpur, Palampur, and in collaboration with Mahatma Gandhi National Council of Rural Education. Honorable Chief Guest, Vice-Chancellor, Himachal Pradesh University, Professor Sikander Kumar, our keynote speaker, Professor Yogendra Verma, former Vice-Chancellor, Central University, Himachal Pradesh, Dr. N.N. Sharma, Principal, Government College, Jawali, and former Dean, Himachal Pradesh Technical University, Hamirpur, Shatrughan Bharadwaj, Dr. Shatrughan Bharadwaj, Regional Coordinator, Vental MGNCRE, patrons, Mr. G.S. Pathania, Managing Director, Dr. B.S. Pathania, Executive Director and Webinar Director, Dr. Vivek Sharma, Executive Director, GGDSD College, Badnath, Dr. B.S. Bagh, Principal, Dronacharya PG College, Rait, organizing team of the college, and more than 1,200 participants pan-India who will be joining us on Zoom platform, Facebook Live, and YouTube Live. I extend you all a heartiest welcome in the two-day national webinar on a very pertinent and relevant theme of national education policy. I am hopeful that fruitful deliberations and stimulating discussions on the various facets of national education policy and the challenges to its successful implementation will really transform India to a global powerhouse. Ladies and gentlemen, Dronacharya Postgraduate College, Rait, is one of the first private college of education that has attempted to disseminate the grand vision of transformation among all the stakeholders such as college and school teachers, students, research scholars, activists, and parents, not only in Himachal Pradesh, but also with an overwhelming participation by delegates pan-India. I'm again wishing you all a productive and rewarding experience in the two-day national webinar. Ladies and gentlemen, now I would like to invite our patrons, Mr. G.S. Pathania, Managing Director, Dr. B.S. Pathania, Executive Director and Webinar Director, Dr. B.S. Bagh, Principal of the College, and organizing team to light the auspicious lamp for the auspicious beginning of the two-day national webinar. Om
Hari Om Bhadram Karnevi Shrunuyama Deva Bhadram Pashema Chabhivajataha Tire Range Dushtuva Sastanu Virayase Mahi Deva Hitam Yadayu Shataminnu Sharado Anti Deva Hayatrana Chakradara Samtanu Namaha Putraso yatra vitaro bhavanti mano madhyariri khatayurganto yato yatah swami hase tato no abhayam kuru channah kuru prajabhya bhayam nah pashubhyah om shanti 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 om.
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm extremely delighted to have amongst us Professor Sikander Kumar, Honorable Vice-Chancellor, Himachal Pradesh University, Shimla. Ladies and gentlemen, I would request Assistant Professor Mukesh Kumar, HOD BBA, to introduce you all with the significant accomplishment of our chief guest of the inaugural of the two-day national webinar.
Morning and welcome all of you in today national webinar organized by Dronacharya PG College of Education, Rait. It's my honor and privilege to introduce our worthy chief guest, Professor Dr. Sikander Kumar, Honorable Vice-Chancellor, Himachal Pradesh University, Shimla, a brilliant academician and a visionary leader. Sir, you completed your MA, MPhil and PhD from Himachal Pradesh University, Shimla. You also qualified NET and your area of specialization is economics. Sir, you served as Vice Chancellor in the Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel Cluster University, Mandi and Atal Medical and Research University, near Chowk, Mandi. You also served as Chairman, Department of Economics, Himachal Pradesh University, Director, PRC, Ministry of Health and Family Welfare, Government of India, Himachal Pradesh University, Shimla, President, Economic Association of Himachal Pradesh, and work as project coordinator in many government-sponsored programs. Sir, you are active member of various academic bodies like Board of Governors, Indian Institute of Management, Jammu, Board of Postgraduate Studies and Research, Indira Gandhi University, Advisory Committee, Agroeconomic Research Center, Dr. B.R. Ambedkar Foundation, New Delhi, Academic Council, Kurukshetra University, Academic Advisory Committee of UGC, etc. Sir, with your vast experience, you have participated and contributed in significant areas of higher education, such as Academic Staff College, Himachal Pradesh University, Himachal Institute of Public Administration, Punjab University, Chandigarh, NABARD, Reserve Bank of India, and Directorate of Economics and Statistics, Government of Himachal Pradesh. Sir, you participated and contributed in 110 invited talks, conferences, workshops, and seminars, and organized more than 40 national, international workshop conferences. You also act as chief evaluator and examiner in PhD, NET, UPSC, and RBI exams. Sir, you have successfully guided 17 PhD scholars, 65 MPhil scholars, and published numerous research papers in journals of national and international repute. Sir, you formulated many innovative academic programs at HP University, at other universities and commissions time to time. Sir, you are currently serving as Honorable Vice Chancellor, Himachal Pradesh University, Shimla since 2018. Sir, we are highly obliged with your presence in our two-day national webinar on National Education Policy 2020. Thank you and once again welcome, sir.
Thank you very much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, now I would request Dr. B.S. Pathania, Executive Director of the College and Webinar Director, to welcome the chief guest. Dr. B.S. Pathania, please join in. वहीं से बोल रहे हैं।
Yeah, again, very warm good morning, the Honorable Vice-Chancellor, Professor Sikander Kumar, Himachal Pradesh University, and our keynote speaker, worthy former Vice-Chancellor, Central University of Himachal Pradesh, Shri Yogendra Verma ji, and our today Chairman of Technical Session 1, Dr. Anand Sharma, former Dean, Himachal Pradesh Technical University, and currently Principal Government Degree College, Jawali. All our Managing Director and the Principal of this college, Dr. B.S. Bagh, the team, organizing team of Dronacharya College, our partner, Dr. Vivek Sharma ji from GGDSD Palampur, Dr. Shatrughan Bhardwaj ji from MHRD, Vental, and all the worthy participants, Pan India, and all the viewers. I, on behalf of Dronacharya College, heartiest welcome to you all on national webinar now on National Education Policy 2020. Under the leadership of our Chief Guest, Himachal Pradesh Higher Education and in the government and the private college, हमारी क्वालिटी एजुकेशन का ग्राफ हमारे वाइस चांसलर के लीडरशिप में बढ़ा है और आज से ये शुरू हुआ 2 दिन का सेमिनार वेबिनार हमारे आने वाले 2 दिनों में काफ़ी लर्निंग का रहेगा, एक्सचेंज ऑफ थॉट्स रहेगा और मुझे लगता है जो भारत सरकार ने न्यू एजुकेशन पॉलिसी लेके आए हैं, ये हमारी जिम्मेवारी सभी की, स्पेशली टीचर एजुकेशन प्रोफेशन में और हायर एजुकेशन में, स्कूल एजुकेशन में, जिससे हमारा भारत समृद्ध, सशक्त और आदर्श बनेगा और हमें एक आदर्श नागरिक बनाने की आगे में बहुत बड़ी भूमिका निभाएगा। मुझे लगता है कि हम सब मिलकर के इस जानदार कोशिश के साथ कि इस नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी को हम धरातल में उतारें और हम सब की कोशिश और द्रोणाचार्य कॉलेज की तरफ से हम वाइस चांसलर को ये आश्वासन दिलाते हैं कि इस नई एजुकेशन पॉलिसी और जो भी गाइडलाइंस हम एक अच्छा बेहतर क्वालिटी एजुकेशन हिमाचल प्रदेश में और पूरे भारत में देने की कोशिश करेंगे। इन्हीं शब्दों के साथ आप सभी का, जो हमारे व्यूअर्स हैं, जो हमारे पार्टिसिपेंट्स हैं, जो ऑर्गेनाइजिंग टीम है और जो हमारे पार्टनर्स हैं, मैं दिल की गहराइयों से आप सबका हार्दिक एक बार फिर स्वागत करता हूं। विशेष तौर पे हमारे ऑनरेबल वाइस चांसलर का, हमारे वर्दी कीनोट स्पीकर, जिन दोनों का हमें मार्गदर्शन समय पर मिलता है और हमारी कोशिश रहती है कि इनके मार्गदर्शन के अनुसार हम क्वालिटी एजुकेशन की तरफ आगे बढ़ रहे हैं और बढ़ते रहेंगे। इन्हीं शब्दों के साथ थैंक यू वेरी मच।
Thank you very much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, now I would like to welcome to our keynote speaker, Professor Yogendra Verma, former Vice Chancellor, Central University, Himachal Pradesh. Ladies and gentlemen, let me acquaint you with the significant achievements of our keynote speaker, Professor Yogendra Verma. Sir, your mission of life is dedicated and committed service to humanity, suffused with selflessness and honesty. Sir, you belong to a remote village at Jol Lamri in district Hamirpur, Himachal Pradesh. So you joined as Assistant Professor of Business Administration in Himachal Pradesh University in 1977, Shimla, and became Professor in 1995. So you remained Vice-Chancellor and Pro-Vice-Chancellor, Central University of Himachal Pradesh, Dharamshala. So your good self served Himachal Pradesh, Central University Himachal Pradesh in various capacities, namely Dean School of Business and Management Studies, Officer on Special Duty, Special Officer Development and Controller of Examination. In Himachal Pradesh University, you held position of Director, UGC Academic Staff for 20 years. Director, Institute of Integrated Himalayan Studies, UGC Center of Excellence, Dean and Director, Management and Director, IS Coaching Center. So you have been selected by Union Public Service Commission as Colombo Plan Expert in Business Administration and worked in Tribhuvan University, Nepal. And as an institutional builder, you established Institute of Integrated Himalayan Studies, UGC Center of Excellence in 2002, and UGC Academic Staff College in 1989. So you have been on expert panel of National Commissions on Academic Accreditation and Assessment, Saudi Arabia, National Assessment and Accreditation Council, Bangalore, and Quality Assurance and Accreditation Division, University Grants Commission, Nepal. So you have assessed a number of universities, colleges in Saudi Arabia, Riyadh, Tabuk University, Nepal, and India. So, sir, you are a member of number of national level committee constituted by UGC, IC, AICT, UPSC, and NAC. So you have 10 books to your credit, including Education in Human Values for Human Excellence, Marketing, Environment and Practice in Nepal, University Administration and Management, Consumerism in India, 4 volumes of annotated bibliography on Himalaya, and more than 116 papers published both in national and international journals. So you have produced 17 PhD students. Sir, your areas of interest are value-based management, organization development, educational management, and you are on advisory board of half a dozen of journals. Sir, you're also engaged in social and spiritual upliftment programs, including free education to the children belonging to the deprived and poor section of society. We are really honored for your gracious presence in the 2-day national webinar, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, now I would like to invite our keynote speaker, Professor Yogendra Verma, to highlight the theme of the 2-day national webinar, National Education Policy 2020, a holistic roadmap for the transformation of educational landscape.
Namaskar to all attending this national webinar on national education, new education policy 2020, a holistic roadmap for the transformation of education landscape. At the outset, I'm really very happy, extremely happy to see Professor Sikander Kumar as Vice-Chancellor. Actually, I didn't have this fortune to meet him during his tenure as Vice-Chancellor. He is carrying the same grace, same smile, same happiness on his face. My really respectful namaskar to you, Professor Sikander. It is really good opportunity to listen to Shri G.S. Pathania, Managing Director, and B.S. Pathania ji, Executive Director of Dronacharya College, for inviting me, providing me this opportunity to present keynote in this very important and timely webinar on National Education Policy 2020. keeping into consideration the time, and because my presentation or deliberation is a keynote, so I will be touching about certain salient features of NEP 2020, how it is going to overhaul the education system, how it is going to change the landscape of our education as well as the nation. Friends, as I understand that the from various backgrounds, we are coming from different parts of the country. Let me share you with very frankly that this is the first policy after independence which aims to address the many growing developmental imperatives of the country. First policy which is talking about high quality education and making India a global knowledge superpower. First policy which is talking about holistic development of human excellence. It's a revamping, not only revising the structure, the educational spectrum, including its regulation and governance. Very important aspect which I look at and find in this new education policy, which makes me very happy and enthusiastic, that the guiding light of this policy is ancient Indian wisdom, Indian knowledge system. Indian knowledge system which is based on the pursuit of jnana, pragya, and satya. And overall, developing into human excellence, providing universal access to the quality. If you look at the spirit of this education policy, before we come to the nitty-gritty, what are the expected changes in the school education and higher education? It is important to understand the foundation of education policy. And as I told you, the foundation is holistic development. The foundation lies in making India superpower, knowledge superpower, making students as global citizens, providing conducive environment for learners, learning to learn. So at every level, starting from preschool to lifelong learning, at every moment, in every branch or in every field, there is a which is flexible, multidisciplinary, technology and skill focused. Friends, number of things which are coming in the policy are not imagination. It's very important to understand that a lot of input has gone into it. I won't like to go into detail, but only one thing I would like to say that the 7 lakh suggestions which came have been incorporated in this small document of 66 pages. And every word in this document needs great exploration, and particularly when it comes to implementation. Well, revamping of pedagogical levels, making education experiential, holistic, integrated, inquiry-driven, learner-centered, flexible, enjoyable, and engaged. Now, these terms are not adjectives, but in this new educational policy, these all have been converted into action orientation. Well, how one can be really all-rounded personality? A scientist must be good from the heart. That means he must be taught not only the science or technology, but arts, crafts, games, sports, fitness, language, literature, culture, values, so many things. What one can learn and what one should learn. And building a character which will lead ultimately to culmination of the dream of our Prime Minister, Smridh Bharat, Unnat Bharat, Khush Bharat, Happy Bharat. So the landscape of whole knowledge in the world is changing. And in view of that, I think this was necessitated. Many unskilled jobs, semi-skilled jobs are going to be mechanized. They have become, actually. So the rise of big data or machine learning or artificial intelligence, these all aspects have been incorporated. Besides that, very important thing is, in this policy, it is perfect sync between the ancient Indian excellent institutions like Takshashila or Nalanda, Bikramshila, Vallabhi, which set highest standards of multidisciplinary teaching and research. Friends, in between the way we changed and entered to this so-called modern education, many of the vidyas, many of kalas, many of educational streams were lost or they were mutilated. But now is the time when this national education policy says that, well, these all 64 education streams. I just give you an example, in the ancient India, Arjuna was, we know, that expert Dhanudhar, but at this same time, he was a very good dancer, very good musician. So our scientists, our doctors, they should not be merely machines, but they should be literary persons. Their heart must be fed. And our present education system has little to feed the heart, to develop hand, heart, and head in integrated manner. Well, there is a lot in this education policy. Perhaps the spirit of Mahatma Gandhi, Abdul Kalam, and Vivekananda will be very happy that, well, the true education, that is the education of bringing out the manifestations of perfection already in man, will be filled up. True education is not merely for living. The true education is for bringing a fuller meaning in life, bringing a meaningful life. That's what Sri Satya Sai Baba said. Abdul Kalam also talked about this type of education. He said that learning must be purposeful, creating creativity. With learning being purposeful, creativity will blossom. Creativity blossom thinking. When thinking emanates, knowledge is fully lit. When knowledge is lit, economy flourishes. So he imagined enlightened citizens. I'm sure this education policy is going to do that. Now let's see, look at it. That is the background broadly. There are many things, of course. But as the emphasis, as I told you, how this education policy is different. Is it a old wine in the new bottle? Or really something different? If you read National Education Policy of 1986 as well as 68, or NCF of 2002 and NCF of 2005, you may find 80% is the repetition. So what is new? Friends, like any house is built over 4 walls. So 4 walls will not change, of course. But what happens inside the whole house that makes house really a home? So this 20% makes a lot of difference. The vision of this policy is to bring equitable and vibrant knowledge society. To develop knowledge, skills, abilities, and dispositions which support human rights, sustainable development, and global well-being, creating a global citizen. So fundamental differences which we will see, that is in the school education. Particularly people in higher education have been criticizing school education. And now look at the changes which are coming up in school education. I'm sure if implemented, and that what we see the roadmap of implementation of this policy is very clear. The work has already been started. Rather, I will say much of the work has been started earlier, even before coming the new education policy. So the best global system will emerge. It differs in terms of creating an atmosphere for learning. Less emphasis is on contents. More is on creating an environment for learning. So learners to learn. Language is another aspect that the child must learn in his or her language which she learned in mother's lap. Multiple languages. Creativity and critical thinking. That's very important, particularly in the era of internet, television, where learning is only one-sided. So critical thinking, use of technology in learning. So I think this is the first time when such huge level or setup of technology-enabled learning is coming up. It is based on certain principles, discarding the rote learning. So up till now, we have been emphasizing, who have been admitted in the best school, colleges of the country. 100% marks, 99% marks. No, that is based on the rote learning. So here, more emphasis is on conceptual understanding. So we will see that how the assessment or examination will happen that is different from the existing system. There is a lot of respect for diversity, development of unique capabilities in the individual, bringing about the latent, what is latent in the person, converting into a talent, into skills, equity, inclusion. So economically, socially deprived sections will have sufficient scope for development. There is a provision for continuous review. So testing at different levels so that examination is not a fear. People are not afraid of it. At every level, community participation. So the stakeholders, they have been made to participate at different points. And as I told you, use of technology, particularly during this COVID period, technology is playing a very important role in learning, and it will continue to. One thing which, of course, you don't find much in new education policy, particularly the private schools. And we know that 50% of schools in the country, they are private, in the private sector. But one can understand why not much has been written about private schools, because all private schools, all government schools have to implement uniform curriculum, uniform pedagogy. So for bringing about uniformity, now whether it is a private school or government school, they have to have the same pattern of curriculum. The curriculum will be decided not by the school, not by the school boards, but by the NCERT. So uniformity. Similarly, in the pedagogy also, there will be uniformity. Now you have different setup, because now most of you must have gone through new education policy document. 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4. So now, child at the age of 3 will go to the school in playway method. So no formal curriculum for the first 2 years. And then first, second, and third grade, the emphasis is only on numeracy and writing skills. So no burden. So earlier, particularly Professor Yaspal talked about big bags Some students, children will not carry big bags of books load, but they will have the environment created, the pedagogy where they will learn more. And particularly up to grade 3, emphasis is only on fundamental literacy, that they are able to write, they are able to calculate, numeracy, mathematics. And this will be done in a national mission mode with a determined effort. Now, the greatest challenge is the teachers, the training of teachers. So here, this early child care education, ECE, for that, there will be a lot of material available, a repository of learning, libraries, digital libraries, a lot of video available to the teachers. And particularly the Anganwadi teachers, they will be further trained. They will be required to undergo certain courses online so that they are able to handle. And hopefully, the good practices of Montessori or kindergarten will be brought in. But one question which comes to mind, what will happen to the private schools? So private schools, will they have the same pattern in their big campus, imparting up to +2? Perhaps that will be difficult, because particularly this foundation level education is different as compared to secondary education. Challenges in other teachers. So in the new education policy, now what will be the teacher qualifications, recruitment process, training, and regular counseling and mentoring? These all provisions we see at one level or the other level. Even there is a scope or there is a provision for constant peer learning. The teachers will have, and particularly as I told you, this COVID situation brought us new learning pedagogy also, where peer-to-peer learning among teachers, among the students have taken place. Learner-learner interactions. The very important, I think the challenge will be for the administrators, educational administrators, to develop competence and attitude in all stakeholders. How they accept it, how they utilize it. One very important aspect is 21st century skills. So 21st century skills not necessarily means only computing skills. 21st century skills means much more. What are the opportunities? How we fit in the global scenario? One interesting thing about new education policy, particularly school education, is that our children who have undergone 15 years of schooling will not have any problem at the international level. Although when our children go outside, they are asked to do some additional courses. But now they won't be required to do because they have already completed all levels. There won't be any language barriers in learning. Of course, some people say that, a child, there is a lot of burden on child. He has to learn so many languages. But let me tell you, at this stage, child is very sharp to learn language. just becoming personal, my small grandson, he lives in Andhra, he's only 3.5 years, talks to his grandmother in Telugu, talks in English to his father, talks in Hindi to his mother, and he also picked up some sentences in Pahadi, talks to us in Pahadi. So child is very fertile, he knows. And very interesting, when he was talking to his maid, he knew that she doesn't understand Hindi. So he was translating our Hindi to her in Telugu. So remember that child has a lot of capacity, and particularly when we were overpowering him with the English language, particularly in the private schools, now that limitation will be taken over because one can learn, understand better in the mother tongue. So mother tongue, mother, and motherland, these all have been taken care in this policy. So in the school education, of course, there is a lot of change. In pedagogy, in the contents, there will be uniformity of contents. So the role of school boards have been reduced. School board job is only to conduct examination. And that examination also on the basis of one national body, that is Parak. Parak will determine the norms, will determine the standards, will determine the guidelines. What is called as National Assessment Center. Parak means Performance Assessment Review and Analysis of Knowledge for Holistic Development. So all norms will be determined by the Parak based on the national surveys, based on the inputs coming, based on the discussions. The job of board will be to conduct examination. I think that's very good in the sense because now the boards were overburdened with the work of developing curriculum, then learning, teaching, development, and other aspects. So there will be national level, you can say, control or mechanism. So for the school education,
I'm sorry to interrupt you.
no, there will be State School Standards Authority. Like, for example, new school is to be started. It goes to the school board. It goes to the school board for license or permission. Now it will not go to the school board. There is a State School Standards Authority.
Sorry to excuse me, sir. Dr. Yogendra sir. So we are running out
please.
of time. Running out of time. Like you could conclude maybe.
Okay, so I'll take 2-3 minutes and then wind up. So there will be a lot of change. So there will be 4 institutions in the school education. That will be the SCRT, State Regulatory Authority, which will regulate the school education, Directorate of Education, and there will be, of course, Parak that will be determining the norms. As far as higher education is concerned, again in higher education, now there is going to be a, you can say, overhaul or revamping of the system. Now you will have a higher education commission at the apex level. And then there will be 4 institutions under this. One is National Higher Education Regulatory Council, which will regulate the higher education system. Second will be National Accreditation Council. So for accreditation of all types of higher education institution, and then higher education grants council, which will be giving grants only. Its job will be only giving grants. And higher education general council, which will be, of course, attending to the standards, the curriculum. So existing councils like NCTE or AICTE or ICHR or ICSSR, so 17 councils, these all councils will be only setting the standards. So they will not be regulating, they will not be governing. Two aspects very important about this policy is that there will not be any single institutions, stand-alone institutions like IIMs or colleges of education or colleges of management, colleges of engineering. No. All institutions will turn to be multidisciplinary. So in the universities also, the affiliating system will go in coming 15 years. All colleges will become autonomous. They will have a graded autonomy, and not only autonomy of transacting the curriculum, but also autonomy of granting the degree. So there will be three types of universities. One will be teaching intensive university without any affiliation. And these institutions will be bigger campuses in the coming time, maybe 20,000 students. And that the second level, which will be higher, that is the research intensive institutions. So those teaching institutions which excel in research will also go to the research. It doesn't mean that research intensive universities will not teach. They will also teach. And then there will be certain excellent universities, multidisciplinary universities in education and research. Maybe institutions like IITs or IIMs, they come to this category. And they also develop as a multidisciplinary institutions. One important revolution is integration of academic, vocational, and professional education. So all three will be integrated. Similarly, curricular, co-curricular, extra co-curricular. So there will not be different activities, but they will be integrated in such a manner that child is engaged, child is enjoying, child's understanding is developing. When he comes out of education institution, he has got a skill. He has got entrepreneurship. He has got life skills. So this type of educational scenario you imagine, one really becomes very happy. But only thing is implementation. But let me tell you, when I was going through this whole process, understanding it and seeing how the government is doing, what they are doing, let me tell you, much of the work has been started. Like, or whether it is mentoring, or it is curriculum development, or it is pedagogy, on all aspects. So roadmap has been decided. Only thing is, let's hope that the leadership of these education institutions is in the right hands. So the recruitment of people, although as policy says, it will be based on qualification, like school teaching will be done by 2030 by only a teacher who has undergone 4 years degree course in education. So 4 years B.Ed. Another thing, last half a minute, that it is a open exit and entry system. So you can enter at any level. Like for example, you have done first year in graduation, you get a certificate course, 2 years diploma, 3 years degree, 4 years research. So sometime you decide that, okay, you leave in between, after some time you can come and join. So credit transfer. So there is a lot of freedom, autonomy for the individual learner as well as education institutions. But the greatest challenge is to the teacher. I think we can talk that later. I think the number of issues which will be talked by the paper presenter, I understand there are quite good number of papers being presented in this seminar, in this webinar. Of course, we will be looking towards the outcome. Thank you very much to all. I'm sorry I have exceeded time, but then the policy is such, and there are so many things to be discussed, and all things will come forward. So my work was only to give a key address, and I hope that I have tried to carry my points further. Thank you very much, Professor Pathania, Professor Sikander Kumar, and I see Dr. N.N. Sharma also. He is always very keen in academic discussions. Thank you very much, everyone, all the participants. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for your thought-provoking keynote address. Ladies and gentlemen, now I would like to invite our chief guest, Professor Sikander Kumar, Honorable Vice-Chancellor, Himachal Pradesh University, Shimla, to address the webinar audience of the two-day national webinar with his inspiring words. Sir, उनकी तरफ से और उनकी तरफ से Yes, sir. It's audible. You can, sir, comment.
Okay. Good morning to you all. Professor Yogendra Verma, former Vice-Chancellor, Central University of Himachal Pradesh, and our senior colleague of this university, Professor S.V. Bansal, Honorable Vice-Chancellor, HP Technical University, Hamilpur, Dr. Suresh Kumar Soni, Chairperson, Himachal Pradesh School Education Board, Dharamsala, Shri D.S. Pathania, Managing Director, Dronacharya College, Rait, Dr. B.S. Pathania, Executive Director of the college, Dr. Prasanna Kumar, Guest of Honor, Professor Nain Singh, Chairperson, Education Department and Dean Student Welfare, Himachal Pradesh University, Professor N.N. Sharma, Principal and former Dean of Studies, HPTU, Dr. Vivek Sharma, and all the participants. I'm pleased to inaugurate the 2 days national webinar on New Education Policy 2020, and welcome to you all in this national webinar, and congratulate to the organizer, especially Sri G.S. Pathania and Dr. B.S. Pathania and the entire team of Dronacharya College for organizing this important event, and thanks to the organizers for making me a part of this event. I think Professor Yogendra Verma has touched all the main issues of new education policy. Friends, COVID-19 crisis has resulted in India going into an unprecedented nationwide lockdown in the month of March and April 2020. The effect of the pandemic is being felt across all aspects of the economy, with multiple agencies such as Moody expecting GDP growth to fall to as low as 2.5% in this calendar year. The Indian government has responded to this by providing several guidelines, including restricting movement and people and social distancing. University Grant Commission and other apex educational bodies have also issued COVID-19 specific guidelines for higher education institutions, resulting in 1,000 universities and 40,000 colleges temporarily closing, students being asked to go home, and efforts being undertaken to move classes online. These measures will have varying degrees of impact on 3.75 crore students enrolled in and 14 lakh faculty employed by the system. Higher education leaders are also concerned that an extended lockdown due to the pandemic could have a deeper impact on the sector, as COVID-19 has disrupted the current admission cycle and might have an effect on enrollments, create a cash flow crunch, slow down research and consulting activities. This year, close to 1.44 crore students are appearing for their school leaving exams, and close to 50 lakh of these students will be looking to enroll in a higher education institution in this academic session. Institutions planning for their admission cycle will need to muster their limited resources, have an agile response plan to COVID-19, and build resilience to minimize the impact on their enrollments, diversity of students and revenues. At this crucial juncture, when not only the Indian subcontinent but the whole world is facing the COVID-19 pandemic, we have to reinvent dark times when the whole world economy is on the low and life of man uncertain. Teachers have to bear the torch of light to guide the man towards peace, security, and better times ahead. During this hour of crisis, while trade and economy have suffered the worst, the education sector is equally worst affected. Now teachers are looked upon to minimize the loss in the field of education, and they are exploring alternative ways of establishing communication with students and society. In the current scenario, the teaching methodologies and means have altered fundamentally. It is a dire need of the time for teachers to shift from offline mode to online mode till the normalcy lands. I am satisfied that our teachers are doing at their best even in these abnormal conditions. And the Dronacharya College of Education, Rait, has taken a good initiative to organize 2 days national webinar on new education policy 2020 through virtual mode in this present scenario. Friends, New education policy 2020, after a gap of 34 years, with year-long consultation with a large number of stakeholders, is a step in the right direction. While changes in the prevailing education structure of 10+2+3+2, replacing it with 5+3+3+4, and multiple entry and exit options are innovative and ambitious moves, they are full of challenges. Skill mapping, vocational education, access, equity, quality, multidisciplinary education, blending of local with global, inclusive and interactive learning, developing critical thinking, educational zones, reduced curricula, emphasis on discovery, discussion, discourse, focus on research and innovation, graded autonomy to colleges, single regulating agency, and use of the mother tongue in the foundational years are all very good ideas in the new education policy 2020. In fact, most of the changes suggested in the new education policy are already a part of the education system in developed societies. All European countries, China and Israel, not only impart school education in the mother tongue, but even higher education is imparted in native languages for which learning resources are easily available. In fact, foreign students are asked to learn the native language to get used to their teaching system, but at the same time, they are also not averse to learning English, which is always an added advantage and desirable for global exposure. In view of this, beyond doubt, the NEP is quite good in its spirit and content. However, the real challenge lies in its implementation, because there are many policies which, despite their intent, could not make any difference, and most of the Indian higher educational institutions are still turning out mostly unemployable youth. Value addition through their degrees too is not helpful to make them productive. Since India is a very big country with regional, social, economic, cultural, and geographical variations, therefore it is difficult to create one homogeneous system where every student can get a similar education and facilities. Therefore, it will be a challenge to implement the NEP in such a setting. The most important action would be to take measures to repair and revamp the system and bring a change in the mindset of the stakeholders, including the office staff from the beginning. This would make the transformation from what to think and how to think easier. If data making and churning could be replaced with measures on enhancing quality, which comes from self-motivation as well as motivation from the system, it would make the task of achieving the NEP goals easier. The top-down approach is mostly bureaucratic and can be good for monitoring and controlling, but it is not helpful in meeting the need for reducing the gap between education and research and creating a pool of global citizens. The NEP also needs to replace the bureaucratic structure, which mostly delays the process and sometimes puts hindrances in the path of progress. A bottom-up approach would be more helpful, as the NEP aims to cover everything, right from elementary and secondary to higher education. This will require massive changes in the school education system, which will include training of the teachers, facilitators, official staff, and preparing a pool of good, motivating teachers totally devoted to the cause of education. The removal of personal and professional issues and the difficulties of working in remote and inaccessible areas would be the key to prepare this workforce and also for the success of NEP. Since the change has to be made from the elementary stage, therefore, touching the pulse from the very beginning and developing a uniform system would be the key to victory. A large number of trained teachers or trainers or skill mapping would be needed in the foundational stage. Unless this is implemented in separate, the goal would remain unfulfilled. The institution famous for painting their buildings and appointing teachers just before National Assessment and Accreditation Council inspections, following no rules and using unfair practices to exploit the students and teachers alike, can never be the harbingers of change. They can never fill the gaps between innovation, research, and education. It is due to this realization that the Prime Minister talked about the roadmap, timeline, resources, and quality of human resources needed to implement the NEP. Prime Minister Modi also did not refrain from saying that the NEP should not remain just as curricular, but has to circulate in the public domain to make drastic changes in Indian education. Now the onus is not only on the Ministry of Education, Government of India, and the state governments or University Grant Commission, but also on every stakeholder to understand the nuances of the policy and work to fulfill its aim by developing a practical, elastic, workable, and less bureaucratic roadmap for its implementation. I think that there are some major challenges in the implementation of NEP 2020 before all of us, and some of challenges are India today has our education by 2035, which is one of the stated goals of the policy, will mean that we must open one new university every week for the next 15 years. Opening one university every week on an ongoing basis is an undoubtedly massive challenge for all of us. And second challenge, I think, before all of us is the National Education Policy 2020 intends to bring 2 crore children who are currently not in schools back into the school system. Whichever way you look at it, accomplishing this over 15 years requires the setting up of around 50 schools every week. This certainly requires a substantial amount of investment in classrooms and campuses. But it also means appointing at least 50 headmasters every single week and at least 200 to 300 teachers every single week on an ongoing basis. Given that many teaching positions are going unfilled even in existing schools, this becomes a particularly interesting challenge for all of us. and we must think about that. And another challenge, I think, from a funding standpoint of view, this is not a challenge for the faint-hearted. National Education Policy 2020 envisages an increase in education spending from 4.6% to 6% of GDP, which amounts to around INR 2.5 lakhs crores per year. This money will be well spent building schools and colleges across the country, appointing teachers and professors, and for operational expenses such as providing free breakfast to school children. And another thing that is in my mind, in school education, the policy envisages a sweeping structure redesign of the curriculum, a very welcome step. But in order to deliver this curriculum effectively, we need teachers who are trained in and understand the pedagogical needs. Many of the curricular changes require substantial mindset shift on the part of teachers as well as parents. And last one, I think there are so many, but last one, in higher education, the National Education Policy 2020 focus on interdisciplinary learning is a very welcome step. Universities, especially in India, have for decades been very siloed and departmentalized. This culture of disciplinary mooring runs very deep among scholars and professors alike, with few exceptions. For the entire higher education system to be composed of exceptions, professors who are curious about aspect and lean into other disciplines while being experts in their own is no easy task. This requires a cultural shift in the entire higher education ecosystem over the next 15 to 20 years. And to realize the dreams it contains, we must overcome substantial execution challenges in a sustained manner for years and decades to come. Friends, there are other challenges before us, that how we implement this policy in our state or in the center. And you know all these, and Professor Verma has also summarized a number of other main challenges. With these words, once again, I congratulate the organizers for organizing this 2 days webinar, and wish all the success of this national webinar. And once again, thanks to the organizer for making me a part of this important event. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir, for your learned insight and inspiring words, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, now I would request Dr. B.S. Bagh, Principal of the College, to propose vote of thanks.
First of all, good morning to all of you. Sir, I am very thankful to Almighty God who put this to our Dronacharya College of Education at Kangra to organize the national level webinar on NEP T20. Sir, I am very thankful, and it is my humble duty as per protocol and privilege to place on record my deep gratitude to our worthy Chief Guest, Dr. Sikander Kumar, Vice-Chancellor, Himachal Pradesh University, Shimla. Sir, you are here for the inaugural of the webinar of NEP 2020. I am very thankful to sir. You spared some time for us from your extremely busy schedule. Sir, your such words deserve to be encouraged and promoted and adequately appreciated. Thank you very much, sir. A special vote of thanks for Dr. Yogendra Verma, former Vice Chancellor, Central University, Dharamshala. Sir, you have acted as a keynote speaker of the first session and also given us for your innovative and helpful suggestions regarding NEP 2020. I wholeheartedly and appreciate this intellectual and valuable talk delivered by you, sir. Sir, thank you very much, sir. My last but not least, my sincere and special vote of thanks to our worthy Shri G.S. Pathania ji, Manager of the Dronacharya College of Education, Rait, and Shri B.S. Pathania ji, Executive Director of the webinar NEP 2020, for their help, guidance, and time to time valuable suggestions given by them. So again, once again, thank you very much to all of you. मैं एक बार फिर परिवार की तरफ से आप सबका हार्दिक हार्दिक स्वागत एवं अभिनंदन करता हूं। धन्यवाद।
Thanks a lot, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, we are commencing with our first technical session. I would like to welcome Dr. N.N. Sharma, Principal, Government College, Jawali, former Dean, Himachal Pradesh Technical University, Hamirpur, to preside the technical session. Before that, I would request Dr. Poonam Sharma, HOD MA, to briefly introduce our Chairperson, Technical Session 1 to the delegates.
धन्यवाद सर। ये मेरे लिए हर्ष एवं गर्व का विषय है कि मुझे इस 2 दिवसीय राष्ट्रीय वेबिनार के प्रथम दिन प्रथम तकनीकी सत्र के सत्राध्यक्ष डॉक्टर एन.एन. शर्मा के जीवन एवं कार्य क्षेत्र को आप सबके साथ साझा करने का सुअवसर प्राप्त हुआ है। डॉक्टर एन.एन. शर्मा वर्तमान समय में हिमाचल प्रदेश के कांगड़ा जिला के अंतर्गत राजकीय महाविद्यालय ज्वाली के प्रधानाचार्य के रूप में कार्यरत है। हिमाचल प्रदेश विश्वविद्यालय शिमला से सर ने एमकॉम, एमबीए, पीजीडी, एमएम, एमफिल और पीएचडी की उपाधि बैंकिंग और वित्त के क्षेत्र में वाणिज्य एवं प्रबंधन में प्राप्त की है। विभिन्न सरकारी महाविद्यालयों में प्रवक्ता, सहायक आचार्य और सह आचार्य के पद पर कार्य करते हुए सर ने 29 वर्षों का सर को इग्नू द्वारा एमबीए, एमकॉम के अनुमोदित काउंसलर के रूप में भी मान्यता प्राप्त है। सर ने नए पाठ्यक्रमों और संस्थानों की स्थापना में विशेषज्ञता प्राप्त की हुई है। सर आपने राष्ट्रीय स्तर पर 100 एवं अंतर्राष्ट्रीय स्तर पर 14 शोध पत्र प्रस्तुत किए हुए हैं। साथ ही आपने राष्ट्रीय अंतर्राष्ट्रीय ख्याति प्राप्त पत्र पत्रिकाओं में 12 शोध पत्र प्रकाशित किए हैं। स्नातक एवं स्नातकोत्तर स्तर पर वित्त, लेखा एवं कराधान विषय पर आपकी 9 पुस्तकें प्रकाशित हुई हैं और 2 पुस्तकों पर कार्य चला हुआ है। सर आप हिमाचल प्रदेश तकनीकी विश्वविद्यालय हमीरपुर के बोर्ड ऑफ गवर्नर्स के 4 वर्ष तक सदस्य रहे हैं। विभिन्न अकादमिक एवं व्यावसायिक समितियों के कार्यकारी अध्यक्ष एवं पदाधिकारी भी हैं। आपने सर हिमाचल प्रदेश के विभिन्न राजकीय महाविद्यालयों में ई कॉमर्स, कंप्यूटर एप्लीकेशन, इंश्योरेंस, रिस्क मैनेजमेंट के अंतर्गत एमबीए, बीबीए जैसे अतिरिक्त विषयों को भी आरंभ करने का श्रेय प्राप्त किया हुआ है। आप हिमाचल प्रदेश के राजकीय महाविद्यालय के व्यावसायिक पाठ्यक्रमों में ड्रेस कोड आरंभ करने का श्रेय भी अपने पास रखते हैं। मानव संसाधन विकास मंत्रालय की 20 करोड़ की तकनीकी सुधार परियोजना के भी आप सदस्य रहे हैं। सर आप भारत के वाणिज्य एवं प्रबंधन समिति के संयुक्त सचिव एवं हिमाचल प्रदेश के वाणिज्य एवं प्रबंधन समिति के उपाध्यक्ष भी हैं। सर शिक्षा के क्षेत्र एवं शोध में अनुकरणीय योगदान के लिए आपको हिमाचल केसरी पुरस्कार, संकल्प सम्मान, श्रेष्ठ अध्यापक पुरस्कार, शिक्षण रत्न पुरस्कार एवं रोटरी अंतर्राष्ट्रीय पुरस्कार भी प्राप्त हुआ है। दिल्ली के एक अंतर्राष्ट्रीय प्रकाशन समूह द्वारा आपको श्रेष्ठ नागरिक सम्मान से भी सम्मानित किया जा चुका है। आप हिमाचल प्रदेश के उच्च शिक्षा विभाग द्वारा 12 जुलाई 2018 से नवनिर्मित राजकीय महाविद्यालय ज्वाली के प्रधानाचार्य के रूप में अपनी सेवाएं दे रहे हैं। सर हाल ही में कोविड वैश्विक महामारी के दौरान आपने यूजीसी द्वारा निर्धारित शोध पत्रिकाओं में 3 से अधिक शोध पत्र प्रकाशित किए हैं। आपकी एक पुस्तक इमर्जिंग ट्रेंड्स इन मॉडर्न बिजनेस शीर्षक से सह संपादन में प्रकाशित हुई है। सर, आप हिमाचल प्रदेश के उच्च शिक्षा विभाग द्वारा नई शिक्षा नीति 2020 के कार्यान्वयन हेतु गठित कार्यदल में सदस्य के रूप में भी नियुक्त हुए हैं। सर, इस 2 दिवसीय राष्ट्रीय इस संगोष्ठी में आज के प्रथम तकनीकी सत्र की अध्यक्षता करने के लिए अपनी स्वीकृति देने के लिए मैं समस्त द्रोणाचार्य परिवार की ओर से आपका हार्दिक शुक्रिया अदा करती हूं और आशा करती हूं कि सभी प्रतिभागी अपने शैक्षणिक अनुभवों से लाभान्वित हो सकेंगे और राष्ट्रीय शिक्षा नीति से संबंधित अपनी जिज्ञासाओं को बेहतर रूप से आपके माध्यम से समझ सकेंगे। धन्यवाद सर।
Thank you, ma'am. Ladies and gentlemen, we also have Ladies and gentlemen, we would also like to welcome our second resource person, our Dr. Shatrughan Bharadwaj, Regional Coordinator Vector, MGNCRE. I would request Assistant Professor Sachin Pagrotra to briefly introduce our resource person to the webinar delegates.
Thank you, sir. Sir, it is our delight to introduce one of the advisory members of our board. So you have done MA in 3 different streams. You have done MEd, MPhil, PhD in Human Rights Education. You are UGC NET qualified along with a degree in law. So you have served for about 13 years in teaching profession, and out of which 3 years at university level. So you have also served for about 5 years in various rural development programs. So you have published a book named Contemporary Issues in Indian Democracy. So you have done commendable job while taking initiatives in the field of safe childhood programs, women empowerment and rural development. You have also worked in programs like Gram Panchayat Development Program and many more notable works. So at present, you are working in Mahatma Gandhi National Council of Rural Education at Ministry of Education, Government of India. So it's been a matter of great pride and immense pleasure to have you here with us, responding to our invitation on such a short note and sparing your valuable time for us. Hearty welcome to you, sir. Thanks for being here with us.
Thank you, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, now I would request Dr. N.N. Sharma, Chairperson of the Technical Session 1, to preside the session. I would request the moderators to call the names of the participants for the Technical Session 1.
Should I continue? Should I start now?
Yes, sir. Sachin?
Someone is there for conduct to call the paper presenters.
Yes, sir. Thank you, sir. A very good morning to our chairperson, Dr. N.N. Sharma, sir, and our resource person for the first technical session, Dr. Shatrughan Bharadwaj, sir. Let me brief our participants about a major rule which has been inserted in all the technical sessions, that you will be given 7 minutes in all. In those 7 minutes, you have to convey the essence of your paper. In order to make you aware about the time, there will be a bell which will ring at the 6th minute of your presentation. It will be an indication that you have to conclude your statement now. So let's begin with our first participant, Dr. Rosie Bansal from DGS Khalsa College, Patiala, and she is going to present her paper on impact of transforming education system by new education policy. Dr. Rosie Bansal, over to you, ma'am. Dr. Rosie Bansal. Do we have Dr. Rosie Bansal with us?
Yeah.
Okay, ma'am. Please go ahead, ma'am.
I would request ma'am, Dr. Rosie Bansal to unmute herself so that we can hear her presenting her paper. Dr. Rosie Bansal, can you hear us? I would request Dr. Rosie Bansal to please. Okay.
Okay, if I am audible now?
Yeah, ma'am.
Yes, please.
Okay.
Go ahead, ma'am.
So the topic of my presentation is impacts of transforming education system by new education policy. So good morning, all of you. Education is all about, learning. It's not about rote learning. It is about training the minds to think. So before proceeding with my presentation, let me pay my a deep sense of gratitude to the goddess of wisdom. Then I'm going to start my presentation with the quote of Nelson Mandela, that education is the most powerful weapon which you can use to change the world. And according to Swami Vivekananda, education is not the amount that we put into your brain and run right there, undigested all your life. We must have life building, man making, character making assimilation of ideas. And mind you, if I'm telling you, if you have assimilated any 5 ideas and made them your life and character, you have more education than any man who has got by heart a whole library. So change, it's a universal truth. We all know that change, it brings new opportunities. And earlier, the education system, it was like the agenda of NEP in 1986, which was being modified in 1992, was to establish the constitutional and legal underpinnings for achieving universal elementary education, and it remained actually unfinished. And the right of children is to have the free and compulsory education. This act was being passed in 2009, and which came into force in April 2010, which entitles that every child of age of 6 to 14 years has the right to free and compulsory education in a neighborhood school till the completion of elementary education. So our education system, actually, it is not encouraging the thinking. It is all about just rote learning. And this new education policy, it has interdisciplinary approach. This is actually the lifeguard of the education system, because we are not going to grow when we are in our comfort zone. We are going to grow only when we are going to face the challenges. So the goal of education is understanding. The goal of training is performance. And there are lots of ifs and buts, tits and bits. And since the times of Nalanda and Takshila, or even earlier, the history of higher education in India was being recognized as holistic aspects of all human knowledge and inquiry, as it fundamentally connected. The new education policy, it was actually has mandated the regional or tongue language, you can say, and it is more of making multidisciplinary, to be achieving multidisciplinary approach by 2040. And it is all about liberal education, which is an array of different disciplines, that is including arts, humanities, mathematics, sciences, and suitably integrated with the deeper study of special areas of interest. And see, there are multiple entry and exit points. This is the beauty of the course, actually, because this flexibility, it is going to develop employability skills in the students. Even I am I am being enrolled in such course from the Skill India. It's a vocational course, and it is having the flexibility of multiple entry and exit points. So students can, when they want to leave, they can leave with a diploma after 1 year exit. They can leave with advanced diploma after 2 year exit. And there are so many opportunities for a student to have multiple subjects instead of having only just one stream, because we cannot inject creativity. It is like encouraging the students to create that environment of knowledge. And what we have done in our education, in our present education system, that we have made the education a burden on the students, because the student that mark sheet, it has become a prestige sheet for the family, but it is a pressure sheet for the student itself. So in the words of Indian government, we give them roots, we give them wings, and great joys from little things. A hope that they will soar, a hope that they will try. We are sure that one day our children will learn to fly. So the education system in India was more of Gurukul system, where the student, he used to learn or take his teachings from the Guru's house itself. Guru, if he has been accepted by the Guru, he is being invited at Guru's place and used to help in all the activities at his home. And this not only created a strong connection between the teacher and the student, but also taught the student everything about running a house. And after he has learned from the Guru so many techniques and talents, from Sanskrit to Holy Scriptures, and from mathematics to metaphysics, and the student, he can stay there for as long as he or she used to wish. And when the Guru, he feels that he has been taught enough, he had learned enough, only then he was being left for his place. So the Indian concept was more, the education in Indian concept was more of self-realization. And the history, if I talk about the history of education system, it was introduced by Lord Macaulay and the British rule in 19th century, and the pattern was class 3. And the primary was class 1 to 5, secondary 6 to 10, higher secondary. So the modern education system was more confined to only basic subject. It was, the focus was on mathematics and sciences, but metaphysics and philosophy, they were considered unnecessary. And teaching was just confined to classrooms. How we can teach our students to think same? How we can say all the students, they're alike, and if there is a class of 10 or 15 students, they all are having different mindset. We cannot tell all the students to climb a tree, which I have been picturized here. So the study has become a burden for the student and child, because the purpose of education is not to make minds, it is to make careers, and not careers, it is to make minds. So the child must be taught how to think, not what to think. And these successful persons are successful because they were passionately curious. They have become scientists. In the present education system, we are going to shift, this new education policy is going to shift from rote learning to creative thinking and digital literacy, because education means we have to extract out the internal hidden talent of a children. So the changing phase is without creativity, there would be no progress, and we would be forever repeating the same patterns again and again, because the focus of education is to shift from rote learning to creative thinking, problem solving skills, digital literacy, inquiry-based learning, discussion-based learning, creativity and learning. So we have to emphasize more on creative potential of each individual. And this educational policy is all about the pedagogical structure which we are going to follow in NEP is 5+3+3+4, 5 years of foundational stage, 3 years preparatory, 3 years of middle stage, and 4 years of a secondary stage. So education is not about learning of the facts, but to train minds. And if I'm a foods person, so I must include foods here. So like instant food, there is an instant knowledge, instant skill, instant experience. And when we are going to save our children, we are going to save the planet. And being a guru, we have to take our children from darkness to light. So questions, they are guaranteed, but answers aren't. Thank you all.
Thank you,
If
ma'am.
I am okay, I was within time.
Okay, ma'am. Ma'am, certainly, ma'am, you have emphasized upon how this education policy can transform the current education system from rote learning to skill-based learning, from mere education for degrees to surety of employment through education. And we are hopeful that this education policy in real sense will transform the current education system. Thank you, ma'am, for sharing your valuable ideas on this platform.
Thank you, sir, for providing me this platform to present my ideas. Thanks a lot.
You're welcome, ma'am.
Ma'am, thank you, ma'am. Like, you have to stop sharing your screen, ma'am. Thank you for your presentation.
Okay.
Yeah, ma'am.
Now, we are going ahead with our next participant. Shruti ma'am from University of Kerala, and she is going to present her paper on role of National Education Policy 2020 in higher education. Shruti ma'am, over to you.
Hello, sir. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am. You can go ahead, ma'am.
Hello. Okay, sir. Sir, is my screen visible?
Not yet, ma'am. Your screen is not visible.
Hello. Okay. Okay, sir. Good afternoon, one and all. I'm
I would
Shruti
request
from
the
Department
next
of Commerce
participant
University.
to please start your video. Yeah.
Good afternoon, one and all. I'm Shruti from Department of Commerce, University of Kerala, Karivattam campus. I'm first year postgraduate student from University of Kerala. The topic of my presentation is Role of National Education Policy 2020 in Higher Education. As we all know, the education is the fundamental for achieving the full human potential, developing an equitable and just society, and also for promoting the national development. The providing universal access to quality education is the key to economic growth, and also it has to be lead to the social justice and equality. And moving on to the objectives of my study, the first objective is to study about the impact of national education policy in higher education, and second one to analyze the forward-looking vision for India's higher education system. And the research methodology I used to conduct my studies based on secondary data only due to time constraints, which includes articles, newspapers, etc. And next we move on to the quality universities and colleges. New and formal looking visions to the India's higher education system at the level of society, which aims of higher education must be to enable the development of an enlightened, social conscious and knowledgeable society. And there are some of the major problems which are currently facing by our higher education systems in India, which includes a severely fragmented higher education ecosystem with more than 50,000 higher education institutions, but only a fewer programs has been adopted in our country. And the second one is poor learning outcomes and development of cognitive skills of students. And third, rigid separation of disciplines with too much early specialization and streaming of students into narrow areas of study. And the fourth one is a lack of teacher and institutional autonomy to innovate and excel the students. And the sixth one is a lack of research at most universities and colleges, and the transparency and the competitive peer-reviewed research funding across disciplines. And next we move on to the institutional restructuring and consolidation. The main thrust of this policy in higher education is to come up with the fragmentation of higher education by transforming the higher education institutions into a larger multidisciplinary universities or colleges or higher education institution clusters. And moving into the larger multidisciplinary universities and higher education institutions, the clusters is thus the highest recommendation of this policy regarding the structure of higher education. And in ancient Indian universities, just like Nalanda, which has thousands of students from India and the world studying in vibrant multidisciplinary environments, and the modern universities such as the Levy universities, Stanford, MIT, etc. And next we move on to the increasing gross enrollment ratio to 50% by 2030. And more higher education institutions shall be established and developed in underserved regions to ensure the full access, equity and inclusion. And the gross enrollment ratio in higher education, including vocational and the unvocational education, shall increase from 26.3% according to 2018 survey to 15% by 2030. While a number of new institutions has come up with these goals for attaining these goals, a large part of the capacity creation will happen to be consolidating, expanding and improving the existing higher education institutions. And moving on to the conclusion, the most important factor in the success of higher education institution is the quality and engagement of its faculty. Acknowledging the criticality of faculty in achieving the goals of higher education, various initiatives have to be introduced in the past several years to systemize recruitment and career progression. and to ensure equitable representations from the various groups in the hiring of faculty. And compensation levels of permanent faculty in private and public institutions have also been increased sustainability. That's all, sir. Thank you for giving me an opportunity to present my paper.
Thank you, ma'am.
Hello, sir.
Thank you very much, Shruti ma'am, for defining and explaining the role of national education policy in higher education in such a short span of time. Thank you very much.
Sir.
Now, we'd like to call upon Dr. Lakshmi from LB and SBS College, Sagara, to present her paper. Dr. Lakshmi.
Sir.
Okay.
Am I audible, sir?
Yes, you are audible, sir. Pardon me.
I'm Dr. Lakshmi Shah, not Lakshmi.
Okay, okay. Pardon me, sir. If the pronunciation, there's a problem with the pronunciation.
No issue, sir.
Okay.
Good morning, all. My paper is on National Education Policy 2020, Challenges and Way Forward. I will focus on only 4 issues in this paper. One, the objectives of the NEP, particularly from the higher education point of view. Second one is the focus of NEP. And third one is the implementation issues, in the sense the challenges. I will look the implementation issues from the side of the institutions, parents, students, and teachers. So in the available short span of 5-6 minutes time, I will try to address all these issues. It is known to all of us that the NEP was launched on 29th July 2020 by replacing the National Policy on Education of 1986. So I am listed here only the 4 important objectives of NEP 2020. One is to meet the requirements of 4th Industrial Revolution. So what is currently happening is there is a lack of interaction between industry and institution. The products produced by the colleges and universities are not matching with the requirements or expectations of the industrial sector. So the first objective of the NEP is to meet the requirements of 4th Industrial Revolution by providing or supplying a highly creative and skilled labor force, and to make productive contribution to the society with this creative and skilled labor force, and to prepare our students for the meaningful workload. So these are the 4 important objectives of the NEP. It does not mean that these are the only 4 objectives. Then I will look into the focus of NEP 2020. The first issue is moving towards more multidisciplinary universities and higher education institution clusters. So NEP 2020 is proposing colleges with 3,000 plus students to achieve the economies of scale and to create an academic environment inside the campus. So as a result, probably the smaller colleges, either they have to merge with the bigger colleges or become the cluster units of the bigger higher education institutions. Second one is absorbing new material to meet the requirements of the society or the industry. And third one is revamping curriculum, pedagogy, assessment, and student support system. Here, what I mean revamping curriculum pedagogy means the NEP 2020 is proposing the certificate course, diploma course, and graduation means 3 years degree, 4 years degree. And if a student completes 1 year, means say first year BCom or BA or BSc, whatever it may be, he will get certificate. If he completes 2 years, he will get diploma certificate. If he completes 3 years, so multiple entry and exit option is given by the NEP 2020. Therefore, so there is a need to revamp the curriculum, pedagogy, assessment methodology, and student support system, and reaffirming the integrity of faculty and institutional leadership. Light but tight regulation-based single authority. This is very important one. Currently, the higher education institutions in our country are regulated by AICTI, then UGC, ICSSR. So many regulatory authorities are there. The NEP 2020 is proposing the creation of a single regulatory authority at the apex level or at the national level. Then the 6th objective is, our focus is increasing the access, equity and inclusion. Means the NEP is proposing to increase the gross enrollment ratio by giving opportunity to every citizen of this country or every youth of this country to become part of the higher education system. In the sense, the poor, underprivileged, weaker sections of the society should be part of this higher education. Then making education more experiential, learner-centered, flexible and enjoyable. That means experiential or learner-centered means here, what I mean to say is the NEP 2020 is focusing more on the practical aspects and less on the theoretical issues. So therefore, quite naturally, the students will enjoy the education. Currently, what is happening is we are keeping the students in a classroom, and the current system is excess teacher-centric one. The teachers are doing one-way traffic in the classroom. So the education become enjoyable only when the students are allowed to take active participation in the learning exercise. That is the another focus of NEP. And last one is governance of higher education institutions by qualified independent boards. Now it is proposed to create a board consisting of 5 or 6 members for every education institution. The two, those who are from the academic background, may it be government college or private aided or unaided college. So these are the focus of the NEP 2020. The next one is, I will look the paper from the implementation issues side. So one requirement is creation of national level bodies at the earliest. So it is proposed to create 3-4 national bodies, probably by replacing AICTE or UGC, etc. So at the national level, that should be done first. Then every state government should be encouraged to prepare or make preparations for the speedy implementation of this policy. I am very happy to say that the Karnataka state government, from where I am coming, is planning to become the first implementer in the country, because the NEP chairman, Dr. Kasturi Rangan, and one of the members of NEP committee, Professor M.K. Sridhar, both are from our state. So our state government is taking all measures or steps to make the early implementation of NEP in our state to become #1 in the country. Then finalizing the regulatory directions by the states to higher education institutions. At present, the colleges and universities are seeking directions from the higher authorities as to how to implement the NEP in the respective colleges or universities. Then a very important one is changing the mindset of students. Currently, the students are they are BCom, BA, like this. In these types of courses, they are studying. So it is needed to change the mindset of the students. Then giving clarity to the parents as to their apprehensions. There are some apprehensions from the parent side. The government and the concerned should give clarity to the parents about the apprehensions and understanding the new concept by the teachers. So this is very important. At the grassroots level, the implementers of NEP 2020 is always the teachers. If teachers fail to understand the new concept of NEP, then successful implementation is not possible. Then designing the pedagogy and curriculum, then provision of infrastructure to the proposed bigger colleges. So it is a big issue. Recently in Bangalore, one of the management has decided to stop the construction of the building, and the management decided to change the building structure only after the implementation of NEP, because whether the building is suitable to the NEP requirement or not. Then recruitment of teachers at all levels, that to the qualified teachers. Then the strengthening of academic staff colleges or HRDCs to train the teachers. Then addressing the issues of smaller and rural colleges. This is very important one, because NEP proposes the 2 systems of colleges, one affiliated colleges, another one is autonomous colleges. In rural side, I don't know how the situation in Himachal Pradesh. In our state, in rural areas, the students are less inclined towards the autonomous colleges. So many autonomous colleges have failed. So therefore, the smaller and rural colleges issue are to be addressed. And NEP suggests the colleges with 3,000 plus students. So there is a need to merge the smaller colleges or rural colleges with the bigger colleges. So the investment already made by the management, these are the issues to be looked into. And assessing the capability of every institution to implement the NEP, whether the institution is capable of implementing the NEP or not. So this is the another important issue to be addressed. And final words, what I'm going to say is, I will divide the institutions and individuals into three groups. One, those who need greater clarity. Still, the clarity is not reached to the concerned, in the sense the private managements. then officials at the government level, then the teachers, students, parents. So this section of the society must need greater clarity about the NEP. This is one thing to be done. Second one, those who are ready, means some of the institutions are ready and teachers may also ready, but they are facing some challenges. These challenges are to be addressed by the concerned. This is third one. The second one. And last one is those who are ready, means some of the institutions are ready, but they need hand-holding, some support, some policy initiatives, directions, etc. is required. So these are the three groups of individuals and institutions from the implementation side. So addressing the above issues in a phased, systematic and meaningful way is sure to give more strength to the implementation process is my final words. So with this brief presentation, I will thank the organizers for giving me this opportunity. Thank you, one and all.
Thank you, sir. No doubt that implementing this policy, which itself is asking for a complete paradigm shift, is going to be a challenging, sir. But we are hopeful that we'll make it happen, at least this time, by overcoming all those challenges. So thank you very much, sir, for your kind views.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. Once again, the organizers and all the audience.
Welcome, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much, sir. Okay, going ahead with our next participant, Dr. Poonam Devi from Dronacharya College of Education, Rait, Kangra, and she's going to present her paper on quality issues in internationalization of education. Dr. Poonam Devi, over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. My topic of presentation is Rashtriya Shiksha Niti 2020. एक मिनट मेरा टॉपिक है राष्ट्रीय शिक्षा नीति 2020 शिक्षा के अंतर्राष्ट्रीयकरण में गुणवत्ता की समीक्षा। सबसे पहले हमें ये जानना है कि अंतर्राष्ट्रीयकरण का अर्थ क्या होता है। जैसा कि आप स्लाइड्स में देख सकते हैं, कोई भी राष्ट्र जो है वो इम्पोर्टेंट रोल प्ले करता है अपनी शिक्षा के अंतर्राष्ट्रीयकरण में। मुख्य रूप से
higher level idu cover aagtade.
तीन प्रकार की हम देशों को देख सकते हैं। पहला है ऐसे देश जिनकी अंतर्राष्ट्रीयकरण से संबंधित कोई भी पॉलिसी नहीं होती है। दूसरा है आपका ऐसे देश जिनकी स्पेसिफिक स्ट्रेटेजी होती है अंतर्राष्ट्रीयकरण की, और तीसरे देश हैं जिनकी जनरल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी में अंतर्राष्ट्रीयकरण की नीति होती है। भारत इसी के अंतर्गत आता है। अंतर्राष्ट्रीयकरण का अर्थ क्या है? अगर हम साहित्य में देखें या डिक्शनरीज में देखें तो इसके कई अर्थ हैं, लेकिन जो सबसे सामान्य सा अर्थ है वो ये है कि internationalization is just one of the way the country respond to impact globalization, yet at the same time respect the individuality of the nation. It is a mean rather than a goal to achieve quality in education, especially in higher education. अब हमारे सामने दो तरह की टर्म आती हैं, एक है अंतर्राष्ट्रीयकरण और दूसरा है वैश्वीकरण। अंतर्राष्ट्रीयकरण का अर्थ है अपनी बाउंड्रीज को, अपनी सीमाओं को एक्सपेंड करना किसी भी एस्पेक्ट में, और वैश्वीकरण का अर्थ है टू इंटीग्रेट वेरियस थिंग्स अक्रॉस द कंट्रीज। अब क्यों किसी भी सरकार को, किसी भी देश की सरकार को अंतर्राष्ट्रीयकरण की जरूरत होती है? क्योंकि it enables government to develop a quality nation, school, university system within border, global framework, produce a skilled workforce force with global awareness and multicultural competencies. और एक और है कि use public higher education funds to promote national participation in global knowledge economy, और last but not the least benefit from trade in education services, जैसे चीन, चाइना और जो जापान की कंट्रीज हैं वो एजुकेशन सर्विसेज के माध्यम से बहुत ज्यादा व्यापार को भी बढ़ावा देती हैं। राष्ट्रीय शिक्षा नीति 2020 अंतर्राष्ट्रीयकरण के संबंध में मुख्य रूप से क्या बातें करती हैं, उसके 7 बिंदु मैंने यहाँ पे लिखे हुए हैं। पहली है मेरू यूनिवर्सिटीज जो प्रोग्राम को डिजाइन करेंगी, करिकुलम बनाएंगी और असेसमेंट का काम देखेंगी। इसके बाद है आपकी नेशनल रिसर्च फाउंडेशन कॉम्पिटिटिव फंडिंग फॉर बोथ पब्लिक एंड प्राइवेट यूनिवर्सिटी टू एक्सेल in quality education, linking accreditation to autonomy and research funding. Then high performing Indian university to be encouraged to set up campuses abroad, and top 100 university in the world to be allowed to operate in India. ABC, which means academic bank of credit acquired in foreign university will be permitted in Indian universities, जो पहले नहीं होता था. Research, teaching collaboration and faculty student exchange with high quality foreign institution will be facilitated. Human और वेंडेवेंट ने जो फैक्टर्स सक्सेसफुल इंटरनेशनलाइजेशन को, अंतरराष्ट्रीयकरण को प्रभावित करते हैं, उनको लिस्ट किया है, और वो हैं आर्टिकुलेटेड इंस्टीट्यूशन कमिटमेंट होनी चाहिए, एडमिनिस्ट्रेटिव स्ट्रक्चर और स्टाफ होना चाहिए जो अंतरराष्ट्रीयकरण की गुणवत्ता को सुधार सके या उसको सुनिश्चित कर सके, करिकुलम, को करिकुलम और लर्निंग आउटकम्स किस तरह से आप सुनिश्चित करेंगे गुणवत्ता के लिए, ये भी एक मुख्य बिंदु है। फैकल्टी पॉलिसी एंड प्रैक्टिसेस, जो अंतरराष्ट्रीयकरण के लिए जिस तरह की फैकल्टी चाहिए, जिस तरह की प्रैक्टिसेस और पॉलिसी चाहिए, उनके नियमन के लिए भी आपको फ्रेम करने पड़ेंगी पॉलिसीज। स्टूडेंट मोबिलिटी की किस तरह से एक देश के विद्यार्थी जो है वो दूसरे देश में जाके शिक्षा को ग्रहण करेंगे, क्या पॉलिसीज होंगी। कोलैबोरेशन एंड पार्टनरशिप की MOUs जो हमारी गवर्नमेंट करती है वो शिक्षा के क्षेत्र में भी होने चाहिए। ये पॉइंट्स जो हैं इन्होंने रखे हुए हैं। अब रोड मैप टुवर्ड्स इंटरनेशनलाइजेशन ऑफ एजुकेशन है। ये पॉलिसी बहुत अच्छी है, लेकिन प्रत्येक पॉलिसी जब तक वो इम्प्लीमेंट नहीं हो जाती है उसके कुछ चैलेंजेस होते हैं जिन पे ओवरकम करके उसको अच्छा बनाया जा सकता है। और क्योंकि ये पॉलिसी 34 वर्षों के बाद आई है तो इसके कुछ पॉइंट अच्छे हैं जिसके कुछ चैलेंजेस भी हैं और कुछ सजेशंस मैंने इस स्लाइड में दिए हुए हैं। पहला जो क्वालिटी एनहांसिंग इनिशिएटिव मुझे लगता है वो है वोकेशनलाइजेशन एज ग्रेड 6 की जब बात करते हैं हम, तो हम ये बात करते हैं कि इसको क्योंकि पहले से हम देख रहे हैं कि इंडियन स्कूल्स में ड्रॉप आउट रेट बहुत ज्यादा बढ़ रहा है। जब आप वोकेशनलाइजेशन कर देंगे तो जो 6 या 8 तक के बच्चे हैं वो किस तरह से आगे हायर एजुकेशन में जा पाएंगे, क्योंकि मेनली हम बात कर रहे हैं क्वालिटी एजुकेशन की इन हायर इंस्टीट्यूशन। तो वो अगर कोई गरीब परिवार है तो उसका बच्चे जो हैं वो 8वीं में या 9वीं में वोकेशनल एजुकेशन लेने के बाद हो सकता है कि वो वोकेशनल अपनी कुछ छोटा मोटा काम शुरू कर दे। इससे इकोनॉमी जो आमदनी है वो भी उसकी एक लिमिटेड रह जाएगी। तो इसको चैलेंज ये है कि इसको कंट्रोल कैसे किया जा सकता है ड्रॉप आउट रेट को, कि बच्चे पढ़ सकें, उसको आगे बढ़ सकें उस स्किल को लेके, चाहे वो आपका बढ़ई का हो या किसी भी तरह की वो वोकेशनलाइजेशन ट्रेनिंग हो। तो इसके लिए एक सजेशन ये है कि एकेडमिक काउंसलर स्कूल्स में होना बहुत जरूरी है, चाहे वो गवर्नमेंट स्कूल्स हो चाहे प्राइवेट स्कूल्स हैं। प्राइवेट स्कूल में ये उपलब्धता होती है लेकिन आपके जो गवर्नमेंट स्कूल हैं उनमें ये उपलब्धता नहीं होती है। तो एकेडमिक काउंसलर होने चाहिए जो बच्चों को उस स्पेसिफिक वोकेशनल ट्रेनिंग की जो हायर एजुकेशन में किस तरह से उसकी काम किया जा सकता है, ये उसको आगे बढ़ा जा सकता है। जैसे हम दक्षिण भारतीय राज्य में देखें तो वहां पे जो आपके नृत्य विभिन्न प्रकार के नृत्य हैं उनको आपकी PhD लेवल की भी पढ़ाई होती है, लेकिन उत्तर भारत में इस तरह की खासकर हिमाचल में इस तरह की मुझे कोई भी चीज दिखाई नहीं दी है। तो ये हम इसके बारे में सोच सकते हैं। दूसरा है कि यूज ऑफ टेक्नोलॉजी की बात NEP करते हैं कि हमें ऑनलाइन माध्यमों, क्योंकि पेंडेमिक के दौरान हमने ये देखा है कि अधिकतर विद्यार्थी और अध्यापक जो हैं वो ऑनलाइन माध्यमों का प्रयोग करना पड़ा है। तो इसमें आने वाली जो बाधाएं हैं, चाहे वो आपकी इंटरनेट फैसिलिटी हैं या अन्य बाधाएं, उनको हमें देखना होगा। तो इसकी चैलेंजेस क्या है कि हमें ट्रेनिंग ऑफ टीचर्स चाहिए, क्योंकि हमारे बहुत से ऐसे टीचर्स हैं जो टेक्निकली बहुत साउंड नहीं है, तो उनकी क्वालिटी को कैसे एनहांस करेंगे। सिर्फ ट्रेनिंग ही नहीं, उस क्वालिटी को एनहांस करना भी बहुत जरूरी है। ये एक चैलेंज और सजेशन है। दूसरा है कि जब हम बात करते हैं कि आपकी कैंपस इन अदर यूनिवर्सिटीज जो बनाए जाएंगे तो उनको आप किस तरह से एनलिस्ट करेंगे कि जो रिसर्च यूनिवर्सिटी जो रिसर्च में बहुत अच्छा कर रही है, किसी यूनिवर्सिटी का एक स्टूडेंट जो बहुत हाई लेवल पे पहुंचा है, या जो एक यूनिवर्सिटी के मैक्सिमम स्टूडेंट जो है वो कहीं ना कहीं एडजस्ट हैं या वहां पे काम कर रहे हैं। तो ये हमें फ्रेम आउट करना होगा कि हम किस आधार पर विश्व में बाहर के देशों में अपनी यूनिवर्सिटी को एस्टेब्लिश करेंगे। दूसरा है ये कि अदर यूनिवर्सिटीज में जो कैंपस यहाँ पे स्थापित करने की बात की जा रही है, तो उसके लिए हमें नंबर ऑफ स्टाफ भी चाहिए और उसके लिए भी हमें रेगुलेशन बनाने की जरूरत है। तो नंबर ऑफ स्टाफ, जो टीचर और स्टाफ है, वो किस तरह से हम प्रोवाइड करेंगे, और क्योंकि इतने कम समय में क्वालिटी टीचर लाना और इस तरह के टीचर्स को लाना बहुत टफ हो सकता है। और दूसरा ये है कि जब हम अंतर्राष्ट्रीय स्तर के विद्यार्थियों को, खासकर यूरोपीय कंट्रीज के विद्यार्थियों को भारत में आने के लिए प्रेरित करना चाहते हैं, तो उनकी स्टूडेंट सेफ्टी हमें देखनी होगी, उससे संबंधित लॉ हमें बनाने होंगे, क्योंकि जो भी भारत की जिस तरह की इमेज जाती है मीडिया में, उससे विद्यार्थी जो भारत में आना बहुत कम प्रेफर करते हैं। चाइना या वहाँ पे मेडिकल की एजुकेशन जो बहुत ज्यादा सस्ती जिसे आप कह सकते हैं, या बहुत कम दामों में वो उसको अप्लाई कर पाते हैं, तो वहां से बहुत ज्यादा विद्यार्थी हमारे बाहर जा रहे हैं। तो जो बाहर जा रहे हैं उनके अलावा जो बाहर से जो विद्यार्थी आए वो किस तरह से आए, ये इसका एक मुख्य मेरा कंसर्न है। और दूसरा इसके लिए मेरे कुछ और सजेशंस भी हैं, जैसे हम मातृभाषा की भी बात करते हैं, क्योंकि क्वालिटी की एजुकेशन की बात कर रहे हैं, तो हम स्कूल लेवल पे भी बात करेंगे और हायर एजुकेशन पे भी बात करेंगे। तो जब मातृभाषा की बात की जा रही है, तो हमें कहा जा रहा है उसमें कि आप कोई भी मातृभाषा को चुनाव कर सकते हैं। हमारे संविधान में 22 भाषाएं हैं, तो 22 भाषाओं को एक विद्यालय में ले जाना बहुत मुश्किल है। तो हमें कुछ एक भाषाएं, चाहे उत्तर भारत में दक्षिण भारत की भाषाएं और दक्षिण भारत में उत्तर भारत या पूर्वोत्तर भारत की भाषाओं को सम्मिलित किया जाना चाहिए, ताकि उसमें ऑप्शन हो, सिर्फ नाम के लिए वो ना कहा जाए कि आप कोई भी भाषा का चुनाव कर सकते हैं। अगर मैं एक विद्यार्थी के रूप में उत्तर भारत का विद्यार्थी होने के नाते दक्षिण भारत की तमिल या मलयालम भाषा को अपनाना चाहती हूँ, तो मेरे पास वो अपॉर्चुनिटी होनी चाहिए। और टीचर्स किस तरह से आएंगे, ये भी एक क्वालिटी इशू है कि क्या तमिल भाषी कोई अध्यापक यहाँ पे उत्तर भारत में आना चाहेगा, या किस तरह से उनकी सेफ्टी आप इंश्योर करेंगे। दूसरा ये है कि जब हम क्वालिटी एजुकेशन की बात करते हैं, तो हमें जो विदेशी विश्वविद्यालय हैं, एकदम से उनकी एस्टेब्लिशमेंट यहाँ पे नहीं की जा सकती है। तो हमें उनके गुणवत्ता केंद्र जो हमारी यहाँ पे अच्छी यूनिवर्सिटीज है उनमें स्थापित किए जा सकते हैं। दूसरा ये है कि हमें जो डिग्रीज दूसरे विश्वविद्यालयों की या एबीसी की जब हम बात करते हैं, किस तरह से आएंगी यहाँ पे, उसके लिए रेगुलेशंस बनाने होंगे, ताकि किसी भी तरह का कोई कंफ्यूजन क्रिएट ना हो। दूसरा ये है कि एक हमें ऐसी वेबसाइट बनानी होगी जहाँ पे भारत से बाहर रहने वाले लोगों, खासकर विदेशी छात्रों को पूरी जानकारी, भारत में जो भी कोर्सेज करवाए जा रहे हैं उसकी जानकारी एक ही प्लेटफॉर्म पे उपलब्ध हो। दूसरा ये है कि जब यहाँ पे फॉरेन यूनिवर्सिटीज बन रही है या यहाँ से विद्यार्थी जब बाहर जाएंगे, तो उनके लिए आप किस बेस पे उनको बाहर भेजेंगे, क्या उनके फाइनेंशियल बेस को देख के, या उनकी क्वालिटी के लिए क्वालिटी बेस पे उनको कोई टेस्ट देंगे, उनके उसमें क्वालिफाई करने के बाद वो बाहर जा पाएंगे। दूसरा ये है कि जो फॉरेन में यूनिवर्सिटीज होंगी या यहाँ पे जो यूनिवर्सिटी एस्टेब्लिश की जाएंगी, तो वहाँ पे फॉरेन स्टूडेंट ऑफिस भी होने चाहिए जो उनकी प्रॉब्लम को यहाँ पे सुधार सकें, जैसे हमारे राजदूत होते हैं अन्य देशों में, या भारत में अन्य देशों के राजदूत हैं। दूसरा ये है कि हमें जो आपकी एलुमनाई एसोसिएशन होती है उनसे भी ये इनपुट लेने चाहिए कि भारत के बाहर किस तरह की पढ़ाई स्कूलों में या विश्वविद्यालय में हो रही है। ये पॉलिसी सेशन है कि इस तरह की चीजें हमें देखनी होगी इंश्योर करने से पहले कि किस तरह की चीजें काम करेंगी, क्योंकि आपकी हमारी जो राष्ट्रीय शिक्षा नीति है वो ये भी कहती है कि all program courses curricula and pedagogy across subject including those in class online or other modes as well as student support will aim to achieve global standard of qualities। तो हमें ये सब गुणवत्ता सुधारनी होगी, और अंतर्राष्ट्रीय स्तर पर गुणवत्ता तभी सुधर सकती है जब हम राष्ट्रीय स्तर पर उस गुणवत्ता को सुधारने का प्रयास करेंगे, क्योंकि किसी भी देश की जो शिक्षा नीति है वो उस देश के समाज का प्रतिबिंब, उस सरकार का प्रतिबिंब होती है। तो बेस्ट विशेष के साथ और मैं धन्यवाद करना चाहूंगी कि मुझे इस सेमिनार में अपना पेपर प्रेजेंट करने का मौका मिला। धन्यवाद सर।
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Dr. Poonam, for sharing your views regarding what necessary measures to be taken necessarily for the effective implementation of this policy, and for sharing wonderful suggestions to effectively.
Sachin, I think your voice is not audible.
मैम बीच में से मिनिमाइज करना ना, बीच वाले में से।
for wonderful suggestions to effectively implement the national education policy at school and higher education level. So may I call upon our next participant for the first technical session, Mr. P. Bala Murlidhar from Prabhat Kumar College, West Bengal. And he's going to present his paper on National Education Policy 2020, a revolutionary transformation in higher education system. Mr. P. Bala Murlidhar, over to you, sir.
Yes, sir. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, sir. You can go ahead, sir.
Good noon to all dignitaries, organizers, and co-paper presenters, participants. The topic of my paper is National Education Policy 2020, a revolutionary transformation in Indian higher education system. The National Education Policy 2020 received cabinet approval on July 29. Built on the foundational pillars of access, equity, quality, affordability, and accountability, this policy is aligned to the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and aims to transform India into a vibrant knowledge society and global knowledge superpower by making college education more holistic, flexible, multidisciplinary, suited to 21st century needs, and aimed at bringing out the unique capabilities of each student. The launch of the National Education Policy 2020 predicts a new era in Indian higher education. It is an outstanding vision statement and an inspiring policy document that seeks a fundamental transformation in the landscape of higher education. It has recognized the complexity and challenges of the higher education system with integrity and candidness. It has envisaged a vision for seeking substantive change with a view to harnessing the extraordinary potential of human development and India's demographic dividend. Objectives of my study: to study the role of NEP 2020 in as a revolutionary transformation in Indian higher education system, criticisms about NEP 2020 regarding higher education. The NEP 2020 has the following big ideas for reimagining the higher education sector. A world-class education, pursuit of excellence. It has boldly aspired to build a world-class higher education system and has recognized that this is critical and central to the future of India and for building a knowledge society. Multidisciplinary liberal education. It has envisaged the creation of liberal, multidisciplinary, and interdisciplinary education ecosystem with strong emphasis on the liberal arts, humanities, and social sciences, along with studies in STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics, and medicine. Regulatory reforms. It has sought fundamental and substantial regulatory reforms in higher education by removing the old barriers and distinctions between the public and the private higher education sectors. Expansion with quality access. It has envisaged the focus in policy relating to expansion, access, equity, inclusion, and excellence, all of which are equally important goals and aspirations that need to be fulfilled simultaneously. Research ecosystem. It has emphasized research and a culture of innovation that is central to imagination of higher education in the future. Faculty focus. It has paved the way for recruitment of outstanding faculty with a strong focus on mentoring, retention, incentives, achievements, and faculty development programs, recognizing that the faculty members are the most crucial aspect of the higher education system. Governance and leadership. It has highlighted the importance of governance and leadership in the administration of institution building efforts, in which all aspects of the effectiveness of the institution will depend upon the leadership and governance structures that are in place. Academic freedom, institutional autonomy. It has underlined the significance of academic freedom and institutional autonomy in funding, curriculum development, student admissions, and faculty recruitment with substantial freedom and academic flexibility. However, the NEP 2020 is not far from criticisms. These criticisms, first of all, it emphasizes on technology in education attempts to transform educational planning, teaching, and learning assessment. But a large number of students do not have access to such technology and gadgets. How would these excluded students benefit from the new modes of learning? Next, NEP 2020 plans to remodel higher education in India and establish reputed universities. India has around 1,000 universities and 40,000 colleges. Self-financed courses have also surged. Universities and colleges have witnessed constant fee hike, but the quality of education imparted remains a source of concern. The education sector is expected to get 6% of the GDP. The question is, how would the center raise the funds amidst an economic crisis? How many existing universities are equipped to compete with universities of global repute? This data may be used as a baseline while working on the plan of action. Earlier education policies of 1968 and 1986 tell us that it takes years to translate policy ideas into action. NEP 2020 shows concern about teachers' credibility. Innumerable teaching posts are vacant. Education institutions lack benches, blackboards, well-equipped libraries, and so on. A substantial portion of college teaching is done by ad hoc teachers. Is it possible to make a long-term sustainable plan with scanty resources? This policy has opened the doors of foreign universities to have campuses in India. Will they provide reservation to economically poor students? Can NEP 2020 motivate students to study in India instead of going abroad? The policy ignores the large number of faculty vacancies. Around, as per reports, there are so many vacancies, like in the central universities alone, there are 6,690, around 7,000 vacancies, approximately 1/3 of the total of 18,000 sanctioned teaching posts. The University of Delhi has reportedly 5,000 teachers without tenure. The labels of ad hoc teachers or guest lecturers are clear pointers to casualization. But, however, in the conclusion, we can say it is a revolutionary vision which includes the necessary aspects of the previous policies and also attempts to remove hitherto existing anomalies in them at higher education level. These criticisms be addressed and related issues be solved. Bureaucratic controls be reduced while giving autonomy. Corruption in the education sector and the lack of financial resources are major concerns for policy implementation. However, the future of NEP 2020 depends on the political will and the system to welcome quality human resources. Thank you. Thanks to all.
Thank you, sir. So you have talked about the revolutionary changes this policy will bring in higher education system, along with certain limitations which are envisaged in it.
अब एक और लड़का था अमित शर्मा, कहीं उसने ना बोला.
Certainly, if we can remove those limitations out of it, it will help us immensely develop a good human being with the multidisciplinary approach, which is the preamble of National Education System 2020. Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for joining us. Now, may I call upon our next participant, Mrs. Vitika Mahajan from Dronacharya College of Education, Kangra, and she's going to present her paper on financing affordable and quality education for all. Mrs. Vitika Mahajan, over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Good afternoon to all. मैं वितिका महाजन, असिस्टेंट प्रोफेसर द्रोणाचार्य शिक्षा महाविद्यालय रैत से आज मैं आपके समक्ष अपने शोध पत्र जिसका विषय है फाइनेंसिंग अफोर्डेबल एंड क्वालिटी एजुकेशन फॉर ऑल पर अपने विचार प्रस्तुत करने जा रही हूँ। नई शिक्षा नीति 2020 हमारे देश के इतिहास की तीसरी शिक्षा नीति है। पहली नीति 1968 में आई जब इंदिरा गांधी जी प्रधानमंत्री थी और दूसरी 1986 में जब राजीव गांधी जी प्रधानमंत्री थे और अब नई शिक्षा नीति 2020 जब नरेंद्र मोदी जी प्रधानमंत्री हैं। 34 साल बाद देश की शिक्षा नीति में बहुत सारे सुधार किए गए हैं, परंतु 1968 की शिक्षा नीति के बाद 1986 की जो शिक्षा नीति आई थी उसमें बहुत थोड़े ही बदलाव किए गए थे। 1968 की शिक्षा नीति कोठारी कमीशन की रिकमेंडेशंस पर आधारित थी। कोठारी कमीशन की बहुत सारी रिकमेंडेशंस लागू की गई, परंतु एक पहलू नजरअंदाज किया गया, वो था कि अपनी जीडीपी का 6% शिक्षा पर खर्चा जाना चाहिए। कोठारी कमीशन ने 1964 में रिकमेंडेशन दी थी कि जीडीपी का 6% शिक्षा पर खर्चना ही होगा, नहीं तो देश काफी पीछे रह जाएगा एज कंपेयर टू द रेस्ट ऑफ द वर्ल्ड। मगर भारत का दुर्भाग्य ये रहा है कि जब से भारत स्वतंत्र हुआ है तब से अब तक कभी भी हमने अपनी जीडीपी का 6% शिक्षा पर खर्च नहीं किया। इसका मुख्य कारण है शिक्षा क्षेत्र में अपर्याप्त निवेश, दैट इज इनएडिक्वेट इन्वेस्टमेंट। 2017-18 के आर्थिक सर्वेक्षण में ये पाया गया कि भारत में जीडीपी का 4.4% ही शिक्षा के क्षेत्र पर खर्चा गया और सेंटर एंड स्टेट गवर्नमेंट दोनों ने अपने बजट का 10% ही शिक्षा पर खर्चा है। अगर हम दूसरे देशों की तरफ देखें, चाहे उनकी आर्थिक और वित्तीय स्थिति जैसी भी हो, उन्होंने शिक्षा के क्षेत्र पर उनकी उच्च प्राथमिकता ही रहती है। उदाहरण के लिए भूटान, स्वीडन, जिम्बाब्वे जैसे जो देश हैं, शिक्षा के क्षेत्र पर वो 7% ऑफ जीडीपी खर्चते हैं, परंतु अगर हम इन देशों की तुलना करें अपने देश भारत से तो हम काफी पीछे हैं। तो जिम्बाब्वे जो कि एक अविकसित देश है और स्वीडन जो एक विकसित देश है, आर्थिक आपदा के बाद जिम्बाब्वे ने ये बात सीख ली थी कि शिक्षा के क्षेत्र पर ज्यादा खर्च करना होगा। अगर हम इकोनॉमिक सर्वे या सर्वेक्षण करते हैं तो हम ये पाएंगे कि फिनलैंड जो एक छोटा सा देश है, परंतु फिनलैंड का शिक्षा प्रणाली विश्व में सबसे उच्च स्थान रखता है। इकोनॉमिक सर्वे और आर्थिक सर्वेक्षण 2017-18 में भी ये पाया गया कि भारत में लंबे समय तक शिक्षा क्षेत्र में निवेश को, इन्वेस्टमेंट को इग्नोर किया गया है, नजरअंदाज किया गया है, जिसको दूसरे देशों ने बहुत इंपॉर्टेंस दिया। अगर हम अपने पड़ोसी देश चाइना की बात करें तो चाइना ने लगातार 7 सालों में अपनी जीडीपी का 5% शिक्षा पर खर्चा है और चाइना अपने कुल बजट का $520 बिलियन शिक्षा पर खर्च रहा है। अभी नई शिक्षा नीति 2020 भारत में जो है उस पे शिक्षा के क्षेत्र पर 6% ऑफ जीडीपी और 20% पब्लिक एक्सपेंडिचर का प्रावधान रखा गया है। इसका अर्थ है कि भारत में भी अभी हमने शिक्षा पर जो भी खर्चा है वो इंक्रीज तो हुआ है, परंतु साथ ही हमारी आबादी भी बढ़ी है और गरीबी भी बढ़ी है। इसके साथ ही हमारे पड़ोसी देश जैसे पाकिस्तान, चाइना भी भारत पर आक्रमण कर चुके हैं, इसलिए भारत को अपना ज्यादा बजट रक्षा क्षेत्र पर ही लगाना पड़ा और रक्षा क्षेत्र को मजबूत करना था। तो इन समस्याओं की वजह से 6% ऑफ जीडीपी जो शिक्षा पर खर्चना था, उस आंकड़े को हम कभी भी छू नहीं पाए थे। परंतु नई शिक्षा नीति के अनुसार अभी जो पैसा, जो बजट एलोकेट हुआ है शिक्षा के क्षेत्र में, उसका बहुत सारा हिस्सा अभी भी जाता है टीचर्स की सैलरी पर, लर्निंग रिसोर्सेज पर, सिक्योरिटी एंड सेफ्टी ऑफ स्टूडेंट्स पर, लेबोरेटरी मेंटेनेंस पर, जो कि बहुत ही कम है, जो कि अल्टीमेट एक स्टूडेंट तक पहुंच पाए। नई शिक्षा नीति में ये कहा गया है कि भारत अगले 10 सालों तक, लगातार अगले 10 सालों तक अगर 6% जीडीपी का और 20% पब्लिक एक्सपेंडिचर का शिक्षा पर खर्चेगा तो हम देख सकते हैं कि भारत वित्तीय तरीके से उन्नत हो सकता है। अभी एक प्रश्न और भी उठता है कि क्या ऐसा संभव होगा, क्या ये प्रोविजन, ये प्रावधान लागू होंगे? नई शिक्षा नीति आयोग ने ये बताया है कि 2030 तक भारत $10 ट्रिलियन की अर्थव्यवस्था, इकोनॉमी बनेगा। हम ये मानकर चल सकते हैं कि 2030-32 तक भारत की अर्थव्यवस्था दुनिया की तीसरी सबसे बड़ी अर्थव्यवस्था होगी। अगर अर्थव्यवस्था बड़ी होगी तो लोग ज्यादा कमाएंगे और टैक्स भी ज्यादा देंगे। टैक्स से जो पैसा इकट्ठा होगा वो शिक्षा पर लगाया जाएगा। परंतु कोविड-19 ने थोड़े समय के लिए इन सभी योजनाओं, इन सभी प्लान्स पर पानी फेर दिया, तो भारत को एक स्टिमुलस फाइनेंशियल पैकेज चाहिए था, जो किसने प्रोवाइड किया है? नई शिक्षा नीति ने। आने वाले 5 सालों में हम अपने वित्तीय उद्देश्य को प्राप्त कर सकते हैं, क्योंकि 2030 से 32 तक अर्थव्यवस्था, इकोनॉमी ट्रैक पर होगी और शिक्षा क्षेत्र में ज्यादा निवेश होगा। सरकारी स्कूल्स की मेंटेनेंस, रख रखाव पर भी सुधार होगा। इसलिए नई शिक्षा नीति 2020 भारतीय शिक्षा प्रणाली में सुधार के लिए ही अग्रसर है। धन्यवाद।
Thank you, ma'am, for helping us to understand in the light of National Education Policy 2020 that quality education can only made affordable and accessible to one and all, if whatever been promised, that is likes of spending 6% out of total GDP of the nation on education sector, then only it can be implemented properly and objectives can be attained successfully. Thank you, ma'am, for sharing your ideas on this platform. May I call upon our last participant for the first technical session, Mr. Indrajit Singh from Government College, Indora, and he's going to present his paper on visualization of the National Education Policy 2020 and overview. Mr. Indrajit, over to you, sir. Are you here with us, sir?
Hanji, sir. Good afternoon, respected sir and everyone. Myself, Dr. Indrajit Singh from Government College, Indora. Now I present my research paper entitled Visualization of the Indian National Education Policy 2020 and Overview. The National Education Policy 2020 is the first education policy of the 21st century and aims to address the many growing developmental imperatives of our country. This policy proposes the revision and revamping of all aspects of the education structure, including its regulation and governance, to create a new system. The main objective of this study is to explore the National Education Policy 2020 in India. The paper describes the principles of National Education Policy and formation of the new Education Policy 2020. This study examines the purpose of new education policy and implementation strategy of new education policy in India. It is an attempt to understand the vision of national education policy and some major changes in education sector. New Education Policy 2020. The New Education Policy 2020 aims at making India a global knowledge superpower. The Cabinet has also approved the renaming of the Ministry of Human Resource Development to the Ministry of Education. The new education policy cleared by the Cabinet is only the third major revamp of the framework of education in India since independence. Objectives of the study. The objectives of study focus on 3 points: to explore the National Education Policy 2020 in India and principles of this policy, to examine the purpose, implementation strategy, and formation of this policy, to understand the vision of new education policy and some major changes in new education policy. Principles of the policy. The fundamental principles that will guide both the education system at large as well as the individual institutions are: recognizing, identifying, and fostering the unique capabilities of each student, emphasizes on conceptual understanding rather than rote learning and learning for exams, creative and critical thinking to encourage logical decision making and innovations, promoting multilingualism and the power of language in teaching and learning, life skills such as communication, cooperation, teamwork, and resilience, extensive use of technology in teaching and learning, outstanding research as a core request for outstanding education and development. Vision of New Education Policy 2020. The new policy aims for universalization of education from preschool to secondary level with 100% gross enrollment ratio in school education by 2030 and aims to raise gross enrollment ratio in higher education to 50% by 2025. The 10+2 structure of school curriculum is to be replaced by 5+3+3+4 curricular structure corresponding to ages 3 to 8, 8 to 11. It will include 12 years of schooling and 3 years of Anganwadi and preschooling. Multidisciplinary education and research universities at par with IITs and IIMs to be set up as models of West multidisciplinary education of global standards in the country. A new and comprehensive national curriculum framework for teacher education and will be formulated by the NCT in consultation with NCERT. By 2030, the minimum degree qualification for teaching will be 4-year integrated B.Ed degree. The National Scholarship Portal will be expanded to track the progress of students receiving scholarships. Internalization of education will be facilitated through both institutional collaborations and student and faculty mobility, and allowing entry of top world ranked universities to open campus in India. And some major changes in new education policy 2020. And new education policy is a comprehensive framework to guide the developmental of education in the country. Some of the major changes introduced in the new education policy are as: by 2030, one large multidisciplinary college in every district, music, arts, and literature to be taught in all colleges, MPhil to be discontinued, Sanskrit will be mainstreamed, vocational skills to be taught, IITs to follow holistic approach, single common entrance exam for all colleges, new system of education. The 10+2 system will be divided into the 5+3+3+4 format. India to be promoted as foreign study destination. Conclusion and suggestions. The main agenda behind introducing the new education policy 2020 is the need of the hour, and it will prepare the students to face the challenges of the new world. The new education policy will promote skill-based education and enhance the practical skills of the students. The new education policy will play an important role in making India self-reliant. According to him, the new education policy has been introduced with an aim objective to strengthen research and innovation in the country. New education policy gives a special focus on the National Research Foundation because innovation is one of the most important parts for a country to progress. Only when research and innovation are strong enough, we will be able to progress in this competitive world. Only when research are strong, we are able to progress in the competitive world. Some of the important benefits new education policy. The new education policy will give importance to students' practical knowledge instead of just pushing them towards rote learning. It will help students to develop scientific temper from a young age. The new education policy aims to make it easier to set up new quality of higher educational institutes which will be at par with the global standards. Since new education policy will make it easier for foreign colleges to set up their campus for many students who are unable to go abroad due to multiple reasons will be able to experience it and get global exposure. The new National Education Policy 2020 is a good policy as it aims at making the education system holistic, flexible, multidisciplinary, aligned to the needs of the 21st century and the 2030 Sustainable Development Goals. The intent of policy
Sorry to interrupt you, sir. I think we are running out of time. So
many ways, but it is the implementation where lies the key to success. Thanks, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for providing us an overview of NEP 2020 by including all the aspects on such a brief note discussed under this document. So this is all from our participants for the first technical session. Now we request Anish sir to go ahead with the further proceedings.
We would like to take questions from the participants. I would request moderators to please put forward the questions to our resource person, our chairperson, as well as our resource person.
Okay, sir. Okay, we'll take some of the queries put forth by our participants on a quick note. We are going ahead with the first question, and we would like to have Dr. Anand Sharma sir's take on this. So the question is framed like, will states be free to make changes to the new education policy depending upon the circumstances they face? And if yes, then up to what extent?
I would request Dr. Anand Sharma to please unmute yourself, sir.
Can you repeat the question, please?
Yes, sir. Sure, sure. So will states be free to make changes to the new education policy depending upon the circumstances they face? And if yes, then up to what extent?
Yes. Thank you, Professor Anish. So for a question of changes which will be allowed to the states, particularly while implementing the policy at ground level, definitely states will be free to incorporate the changes keeping in the local needs, because whenever the curriculum will be designed, that curriculum will not be 100% on the global needs or on the national needs. Then that curriculum we will also take care of the local needs, and that will be the part of the curricula. And obviously, when this education is in the current list and the states are equally entitled to do the changes, there's no problem. Things will be changed accordingly as per the requirement of the particular area. It's not a problem in the NEP.
Okay, very rightly said, sir. As there is a huge cultural diversity in our nation, therefore flexibility in such a document is quite essential. Thank you very much, sir, for clearing the clouds of doubt on this. Sir, I'm going ahead with the next question. हम में से अधिकांश एक्सपीरियंशियल लर्निंग को टेक्स्ट बुक करिकुलम कंटेंट में कमी के साथ संबंधित मान रहे हैं. सो टेक्स्ट बुक करिकुलम किस हद तक कम किया जाएगा जब हम एक्सपीरियंशियल लर्निंग की बात कर रहे हैं? सर, दिस क्वेश्चन इज फॉर डॉक्टर शत्रुघ्न.
So please join in.
Yes, sir. Welcome all of you. प्लीज एक बार क्वेश्चन प्लीज रिपीट करोगे? मैं ध्यान से नहीं सुन पाया आपकी बात.
जरूर सर. सर, हम में से अधिकांश एक्सपीरियंशियल लर्निंग को टेक्स्ट बुक करिकुलम कंटेंट में कमी के साथ संबंधित मान रहे हैं. टेक्स्ट बुक करिकुलम किस हद तक कम किया जाएगा जब हम एक्सपीरियंशियल लर्निंग की बात कर रहे हैं?
डेफिनेटली आई गॉट योर पॉइंट. थैंक यू. माय डियर फ्रेंड्स ने बहुत पार्टिसिपेंट्स के माध्यम से बहुत अच्छी चीज को हाईलाइट किया है. डेफिनेटली ये एक बहुत बड़ा चैलेंजेस रहा है. आज जो हमारे पास जो कैरिकुलम है, यद्यपि चाहे वो कोठारी कमीशन की बात हो, चाहे नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी 1986 की बात हो, सभी में एक्सपीरियंशियल लर्निंग की बात की गई थी. लेकिन वो जो वर्तमान में अभी जो नेशनल पॉलिसी एजुकेशन आई है 2020, उसमें जितना हाईलाइट और फोकस किया गया उतना पहले नहीं था. अब जहां तक उसका जो गैप को रिमूव करने की बात है, तो ये हमारी नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी में इट इज क्लियर कट डायरेक्शंस कि जो आपका 6th और 7th और जो 8th स्टैंडर्ड स्कूल लेवल की बात मैं कर रहा हूं, वहां ये कर दिया गया है कि मिनिमम 1 ईयर सभी लोग जो एक्सपीरियंशियल लर्निंग करेंगे इन 3 क्लासेज के मध्य में, इन एडिशन टू जो मेन स्ट्रीम की जो हमारी स्कूलिंग रहेगी या कॉलेज एजुकेशन रहेगा, उसके साथ ये नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी में डाल दिया गया है कि इन सभी का एमओयूज रहेगा, जैसे इंडस्ट्रियल ट्रेनिंग इंस्टीट्यूट के साथ, पॉलिटेक्निक्स के साथ, इंडस्ट्रीज के साथ, वो सब डाल दिया गया है। ये इसके अतिरिक्त जब जैसे कि आप सभी जानते हैं कि सुबह वर्मा जी ने भी बहुत अच्छा बताया कि ऑल ओवर द कंट्री, जो स्टेट लेवल की बात है या सेंट्रल लेवल की बात है, बहुत सी कमेटीज बन गई हैं। यू विल बी सरप्राइज, कुछ कमेटीज का मैं भी मेंबर हूं, जैसे कुछ स्टेट में, तो मैंने उसमें देखा कि वास्तव में जो कमेटी के मेंबर्स हैं वो स्किल यूनिवर्सिटी से भी हैं, इंडस्ट्रीज से भी हैं, कुटीर उद्योग से भी है, बड़े इंडस्ट्रीज से। इट मीन्स सभी का उसमें रिप्रेजेंटेशन है। उसका रिप्रेजेंटेशन का मतलब ये है कि एक्सपीरियंशियल लर्निंग का अधिक से अधिक कैरिकुलम डेवलप करना, इनपुट करना, ताकि वास्तव में जो एजुकेशन का जो वास्तविक उद्देश्य है, जो ऑलराउंड डेवलपमेंट की बात करते हैं, होलिस्टिक डेवलपमेंट की बात करते हैं, क्योंकि बिना हम, जैसे मैं कई बार एक एग्जाम्पल दिया करता हूं कि मान लीजिए हमने बच्चे को क्लास में पढ़ा दिया कि साइकिल कैसे चलाई जाती है, हवाई जहाज कैसे चलाई जाती है, हमने क्लास में बच्चे को पढ़ा दिया, लेकिन वो क्लास में पढ़ाने से तो बच्चे को नहीं आया। जब तक बच्चा उसके साथ एक्सपीरियंस नहीं करेगा, फील्ड में नहीं जाएगा, साइकिल पे चढ़ेगा नहीं, 1-2 बार गिरेगा नहीं। दिस इज द सेम हेयर द एक्सपीरियंशियल लर्निंग। सो दैट इज व्हाई पूरा का पूरा जो एजुकेशन सिस्टम है, हायर एजुकेशन सिस्टम एज वेल एज स्कूल एजुकेशन सिस्टम, इसको इसी प्रकार से एक्सपीरियंशियल बेस्ड किया जा रहा है, ताकि बच्चे जो पढ़ेंगे वो सीखेंगे, बच्चे जो कुछ पढ़ा वो जाके के ग्राउंड में करेंगे। और जहां तक आपने इंडिकेट किया कि जो पास्ट जो पॉलिसीज थी, एक्चुअली उनमें एक्सपीरियंस लर्निंग था, लेकिन दुर्भाग्य से उसको एड्रेस नहीं किया गया, उसको रिकॉग्नाइज नहीं किया गया। जैसे कि हम बच्चों को कोई लेसन हम पढ़ाते हैं, तो उस लेसन के लास्ट में सिर्फ हमने क्वेश्चन आंसर किया, उसकी जो गृह उपयोगी एक्टिविटीज थी हमने नहीं किया। दैट इज एक्सपीरियंस लर्निंग। सो दैट इज व्हाई द नेशनल एजुकेशन पॉलिसी 2020 और ज्यादा एम्फेसिस और फोकस किया जा रहा है इन चीजों पे। तो डेफिनेटली इन चीजों को टैकल किया जाएगा। थैंक यू।
धन्यवाद सर। यानी कि इस बात को कुछ इस तरह से समझे कि करिकुलम में कमी तो होगी, पर उस स्तर की नहीं होगी। कुछ अननेसेसरी कंटेंट को हटाया जा सकता है जो उस लेवल की प्रोग्रेस में बाधक है।
डेफिनेटली।
Thank you, sir. Sir, we're taking another question from our participant, which we are going to place over Dr. Anand Sharma sir's table. So the question is, accessibility, equity, affordability, accountability, quality are the 5 fundamental pillars on which National Education Policy 2020 is built. So there's a request from our participant that if you can enlighten us more on these terms in context to National Education Policy 2020.
Okay. Yes, sir. I'm audible?
Yes, sir.
Am I audible?
Yes, sir. You can go ahead, sir.
Yes, because why we are making those education policy, first question arises. It is need of an hour keeping in view the changes scenario of education. Just now you asked one, in the previous question, there was also one component related to this. Then what type of change is there? If I would like to describe the change in one line, single line, only one, कि जब मैं पढ़ता था तो मैं क्या पढ़ता था, मैं वो पढ़ता था जो मुझे पढ़ाया जाता था, और आज एक टीचर बन के मुझे वो पढ़ाना है जो मेरा बच्चा पढ़ना चाहता है। This is the basic change which has come up in the education system in India, and we all teachers have to accept it. And so for a question of this different issues you have discussed, these are very, very important issues, particularly in the NEP 2020, which is also another pillar of the changing scenario. So for a question of affordability is concerned, yes, education should be within the reach of everyone. And whenever we will incorporate such sort of thinking, such sort of mindset in the young India, which we are blessed by 2020. The first thing is that we have to make our youth ready to face the challenges from local to global. And to face the challenges from local to global, these components which may create some hindrances, as you're talking about the affordability, right? If to make the education more affordable, there are a number of schemes which will be introduced, which are even in this NEP 2020 also. Those supporting schemes in the shape of scholarship will come forward for the students, and obviously the affordability the problem will be sorted out. Second is employability. Question now, so for the question of employability is concerned, we have to not focus on job seekers, we have to basically focus on job creators. And this NEP is a right step towards creation of job creators. We have to switch over to the such ventures where one can employ himself or herself and can provide employment to the other people at large. Third thing is adaptability. Yes. So for a question of ultimate vision and mission of NEP 2020 is there. The adaptability is very, very important issue, and that we have to make it suitable to all the stakeholders. Right way, from the students, to the academicians, to the teachers, to the parents, and of course, to the institutions too. So whenever we will implement this education policy at ground level, we have to create an environment, and we are doing it. This webinar is a first step towards it. I congratulate the organizers. They have taken this issue in the right way, that the adaptability can be strengthened, can be enhanced if we will make it a point to create the suitability, keeping in with the interest of all the stakeholders. Third thing comes the innovation. Innovation means we have to develop a creativity. Dr. Verma told this thing, Professor Sikander Kumar ji also focused on this. We have to be a creative. We have to be analytical. We have to be skill oriented. We have to be a numerical vision. And by this, whenever the innovations will be there, definitely, I can just sum up with 2 words about the vision and mission of this NEP 2020 regarding innovation. It will create Nai Soch, Naya Josh. And when Nai Soch and Naya Josh will come together, obviously, young India will definitely be able to channelize their energy. Friends, young India is coming up. This is a challenge for us. If this is an opportunity for the youngsters, this is a challenge for we people who are involved in academia to channelize their energy in such a constructive manner, so that we can develop a responsible, socially capable, and intelligent, constructive, analytical youth. That is the ultimate objective of innovation. Obviously, 360-degree transformation with a focus of 21st century skills and high quality research, stand-alone universities. These issues will definitely sort out the problem, and I think this is the right answer for the question. If some other query is there, you are most welcome. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. It has been clarified in such a simple and effective way by you, sir, that we hardly need any further clarification over this by anyone else. Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
So I'm going ahead with the next question.
Oh,
this is the last one, sir.
There won't be thank you, sir. Now I would request Dr. N.N. Sharma, our chairperson for the technical session 1, to briefly conclude with his observation remarks on the technical session, sir.
Thank you, Professor Sachin.
Thank you,
before I conclude and give my remarks on this technical session, very good presentations were there. I would like to congratulate Dr. B.S. Pathania, Managing Director of this prestigious management and education institution of our district Kangra. Obviously, leading away in Himachal too. Dr. B.S. Pathania, Executive Director. Dr. R.S. Bagh were the principal of this renowned institution, Dr. Vivek Sharma, Director of Sanatan Dharam College, Dr. Shatrughan, my co-chair, worthy research paper presenters, Galaxy of Academia, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, I congratulate the organizers to organize such a purposeful, meaningful, and with certain objectives, this wonderful national webinar. And I would like to especially congratulate the paper presenters of this technical session. Rosie Bansal ma'am from Patiala, Punjab, Shruti from Kerala, Dr. Lakshmish from Karnataka, Dr. Poonam from Himachal, Dr. P. Vala Subramaniam from Karnataka, Vikita Mahajan from Himachal, and Dr. Inderjeet from Himachal for wonderful presentations. And their presentations and the research papers have created and raised a lot of questions, lot of issues. And I think in the morning session, Dr. Yogendra Verma, a very renowned academician and very experienced teacher also, has thrown up and discussed a lot of points which have become issues. And I'll not say the challenges because it's a policy document, and we all teachers have to come forward to implement it successfully at the ground level. I know there are problems. I know there are weaknesses, but let us come together, let us work together so that those problems can be discussed with solutions, those weaknesses can be removed with strengths. And whenever we'll think on those issues, definitely there will be a change. Education is backbone of any nation. And the people who are involved in the academia or involved in the education system are very lucky. And whenever you are lucky at one place, your responsibilities and accountabilities are more. We have to work. India is not a small place. India is not a small country. India holds an imperative place so far as the question of education system is concerned. And in this imperative place, if you talk about the scenario of schools, scenario of universities, scenario of colleges, scenario of other educational institutions which are involved in different type of education, whether it's conventional, whether it's technical, whether it's other professional education, whatsoever the scene is there, India is leading. I can say it with confidence. And so for a question of talking about the framework, India has one of the biggest educational framework on this planet. And so far a question of education sector is concerned, it is ready to witness significant developments in the years to come. And new education policy 2020 will definitely play a role model for this situation. Friends, one thing is there that why those policies are being made. I've told you in the beginning that policies are guide to action. Policies are directions. And whenever we work on the basis of certain policies or certain policy document, it gives us a certain framework to lead, to work, to participate in such a way so that the ultimate vision and mission can be achieved. And tomorrow, if we talk about the scenario of education policy 2020, no doubt the previous policies whatsoever were there, they have also played an important role because those were suitable at that time when those were launched, keeping in view the changing scenario of education at that time and the requirement of the country as well as the global requirements. But with the passage of time, whenever the changes are there, obviously those policies are to be changed. And new education policy of 2020, if we talk about the 1986, it created a pool of education and trained human resources who contribute to the value chain. But this NEP 2020 will definitely definitely dreams of creating human resources who will create value propositions and convert human resource into human capital. This is a basic theme, basic agenda, basic objective of the education. A number of things were discussed by the different presenters. I'll not much focus on that, but the points, but the critical thinking which have come out of the mindset of these wonderful researchers, I would like to focus on those only. In the morning session, even we talked about one value education system. Value education is really value education is a need of an hour. But we want to focus on the GER, or we want to enhance the gross enrollment ratio and to get the youngsters from their home to the schools and to the colleges. Obviously, the value proposition which is involved, which is incorporated in this NEP 2020 will definitely play a very important role. But I would like to add one thing, that if we are focusing on the value education, simultaneously we have to focus on the value of education so that the GER can be improved. Value education, value of education have to work together, have to focus together, and we academic people, whosoever are involved in this process, right away from the teacher at the primary level to the professor at university level, have to work in the same team spirit. Because if we feel that this value proposition will be added at the school level and that will continue till the university, no. This value proposition and value of education proposition is to be continued throughout the journey of education, so that whenever any youngster or whenever any person who is coming out with the degrees of higher education must have the mindset with the value proposition in the education. That is the most important thing, which is one part. Now, second thing comes that in the morning, a few things were also discussed, and I was just talking, watching this Q&A is also there. That what is the objective of this policy? What is the use of this policy? That is very clear from its vision and mission. That is very clear from its vision and mission. Vision and mission is clear. When our vision and mission is clear, obviously, we have got some guide to act. We have got some direction to act. Now it depends upon us that how we act, how we react, and how we do the best and how we give our best. That is the most important thing. Because if you talk about the concept of sustainable development, Professor Verma also focused on that. When we talk about the concept of sustainable development, we call it सतत विकास लक्ष्य जो एक हम लेकर चलेंगे, उसको शिक्षा में we have to incorporate that in education as a sustainable development goals, which is developed with the focus to ensure the inclusive and equitable quality education and promote lifelong learning opportunities. What was happening when I was studying in the upper KG, or I was studying in the 6th standard, or I was studying in the 4th standard in a school? I was just focused on the rote learning. मैं पढ़ रहा था, मैं उसको याद कर रहा था, और जैसे एग्जाम खत्म होता था, things were over. So what was there? That was also one of the important part. I cannot say that education system was defective. No. That was suitable at that time. Now, with the passage of time, when the changes are there, we have to focus on sustainable development goals, and we have to promote lifelong learning opportunities for all by 2030. But sustainable development goals need some constructive, effective, and result-oriented implementation. I'm using 3 words. Sustainable development goals, in which we are focusing on lifelong learning opportunities. One of the paper presenter also tried to focus on it. We have to focus on constructive, effective, and result-oriented implementation, keeping in view the changing scenario of education, as well as the knowledge delivery system, especially with respect to its local, national, and global needs. I feel that we should be vocal for local, but from local to the national and national to global, this process will be continued, and we will definitely lead to the internationalization of education, for which one of the people presenter were focusing. Probably Professor Poonam was there from Dronacharya College, if I'm not wrong. She focused on number of issues, and I'm covering those issues one by one. They're wonderful. Those are very genuine points she raised. Other paper presenter also raised genuine points, and I'm taking those one by one, and I'm suggesting something. But one thing is very clear, that we all have to work in a team. We all have to work in a team. Again, I'm saying, let us not discuss problems. Let us discuss problems with solutions. Let us not discuss weaknesses. Let us discuss weaknesses with our strengths. Only then the things we will be able to achieve the objectives and execution of this education policy 2020. Now, being a policy of 21st century, the attempt has been made, particularly at the various aspects. Plus, a lot of things were talked about vocationalizations. Yes, we have to reimagine the vocationalizations. And for that, a very, very wonderful model is there in the management, that is a KSA, knowledge, skill, and attitude. Three things are very, very important in NEP. If you want to talk about the professionalization, if you talk about the skill development courses, if you talk about the vocationalizations, we have to focus on KSA model. Knowledge, skill, and attitude. We are not supposed to deliver the knowledge, we are supposed to share the knowledge. We are not supposed to deliver the knowledge, we are supposed to share the knowledge. When the knowledge will share, obviously the lifelong learning will take place. We have to focus on skills. We are directly talking on skill development. I say skill development is a second step. First, we have to create will for skill. First, we have to create will for skill, and I salute the efforts which are added in the new education policy, that we are going to start these skill courses from the 6th standard. Yes, when this type of temperament will be started at the lower level, at the primary level, at the middle level, obviously the will for skill will be created. We have to focus for creation of will, create will for skill. When the will for skill will be created at that place, obviously the skill development process will become another part of the lifelong learning. Skill which we are learning today is required to be updated tomorrow. Is required to be again updated day after tomorrow, keeping in with the changing scenario. आप किसी भी टेक्नोलॉजी में चले जाइए, कहां भी सिस्टम में चले जाइए. If you talk about the delivery system of education, from chalk duster to the electronic boards to the online education, in which you are talking about this PPTs and all. But even then, nobody can eliminate the chalk and dust in the system. This is another vision and mission of this policy, कि हम शिक्षा में अपने जो आधारभूत हमारे शिक्षा प्रणाली है, गुरुकुल से लेकर नालंदा की तक्षशिला की बातों से लेकर आज आधुनिक शिक्षा जगत तक जितने बदलाव हुए, उन बदलावों को भी लें, लेकिन अपने मूलभूत संस्कारों को ना भूलें. This is the another vision and mission of this education in the 21st century. So third, we have to develop an attitude. First, I have talked about the knowledge. From delivery to, we have to shift to the sharing of knowledge, right? From skills to develop effective skill development, we have to focus on, we have to create will for skill, and we are doing it. This is the ultimate objective of this NEP 2020. Definitely there will be change, there will be the positive results. And attitude. Yes.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for your insightful words. Now I would request Assistant Professor Sumit Sharma.
Should I excuse me, Professor Sachin, should I conclude first, I think?
Okay, sir.
Or, are you not able to hear?
Yes, sir.
Should I continue?
Yes, sir, you can continue. You can conclude, sir.
They have given me time up to 2 o'clock, Dr. B.S. Pathania. If it is concluded, I can conclude it, no problem.
So
am I audible?
You can conclude in 1 minute, sir. Like we have next session.
Okay. Okay. one more thing is there. One more thing is there that how we can focus on the KSA, and to focus on the KSA, the another problem which is there, that how we will create a unity and integrity in the knowledge. The question is of the multidisciplinary approach. This is the most important issue which is to be discussed in this, and how to develop a multidisciplinary approach and how to make it successful. We are shifting from interdisciplinary to multidisciplinary. But if you talk about the choice-based credit system, as Dr. Verma was saying that there are certain changes in the old system. Yes, there are certain changes. We are shifting from interdisciplinary to the multidisciplinary. If you are afraid of this thing, that how this multidisciplinary will be adopted, there is some problem with teachers, there is some teacher training. Yes, every component is covered in this education policy. But the thing is that each and every component is to be focused at ground level for the effective implementation. So at last, I would like to say that we teachers are the backbone of this and for the successful implementation of NEP, and all the stakeholders, whether those are private colleges, whether those are government colleges, whether those are schools, whether those are the private schools, whether those are parents or the students, all have to work together in a team. Only then we can think of the successful implementation of this policy, and we have to ensure its successful implementation, so that the issues which are moving, which are wandering, which are traveling in our minds, that this will happen, nothing will happen if we will work with the positive attitude, and definitely we will find the positive results with those words. Thank you very much, management of the Dronacharya College, and for giving this opportunity. And thank you, one and all. Thank you so much.
Thank you again, sir, for your insightful words. Now, I would request Assistant Professor Sumit Sharma, HOD BA, to propose vote of thanks for the technical session 1.
धन्यवाद अनीश। प्रथम तकनीकी सत्र के अध्यक्ष डॉक्टर NN शर्मा, प्राचार्य राजकीय महाविद्यालय जवाली, व प्रवक्ता डॉक्टर शत्रुघ्न भारद्वाज, क्षेत्रीय समन्वयक महात्मा गांधी राष्ट्रीय ग्रामीण शिक्षा परिषद भारत सरकार, वह देश के विभिन्न राज्यों के प्रतिभागियों का, शिक्षाविदों का इस 2 दिवसीय राष्ट्रीय वेबिनार NEP 2020 में सम्मिलित होने के लिए धन्यवाद करता हूं, और धन्यवाद करता हूं कि आपने अपना बहुमूल्य समय देकर इस सत्र को सफल बनाया। विशेष तौर पर मैं इस सत्र के सूत्रधार डॉक्टर NN शर्मा और डॉक्टर शत्रुघ्न भारद्वाज जी का द्रोणाचार्य परिवार की तरफ से कोटि धन्यवाद करता हूं कि उन्होंने प्रतिभागियों के NEP 2020 के से संबंधित संशयों को गंभीरता से सुना और उनका समाधान किया। और डॉक्टर NN शर्मा ने अंत में जो ये बात बताई कि चाक बोर्ड का आज भी कोई हमारे शिक्षा के क्षेत्र में कोई अल्टरनेट नहीं है, जो इसकी इंपॉर्टेंस है वो आज भी पूरे भारतवर्ष में इसका कोई भी चाक बोर्ड का कोई भी स्थान, कोई भी चीज नहीं ले सकती है। इन्हीं शब्दों के साथ जय हिंद, जय भारत।
Thank you very much, sir. This brings to an end our first technical session. Participants, Pan India, I would request you to join again. That there should be a lunch break now for 35 minutes, and we will join again at 2:10 p.m. for the second technical session. Second technical session and enriching question answer session. So let's join again at 2:10 p.m. for the technical session second.